never sabi wetin we carry for her.
But they move closer before they go sabi.
I said they never know wetin we carry for body.
But they move closer before they go sabi.
Ọ̀kín lọ lọ́jà ẹyẹ kìnìún ló ló lajú.
Ẹyẹ tó torí kodò bí àdó ọ̀pẹ̀tẹ̀ lẹ́nu.
Ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ilẹ̀ bàbá wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ìlú bàbá wa, ká jùmọ̀ sowọ́pọ̀ ká lè kó dúdú àga.
Òdúdú àkóbá lè gbé wá.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ṣègìrì, ẹ dìde fún ẹ̀tọ́ adúláwọ̀, ká lè jọ jùmọ̀ gbé délẹ̀ ìlérí, ká wálé gba ògo ilẹ̀ wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká lè jọ gbàdé, ká lè gbàdé adé adúláwọ̀, àwa ni mọ̀lẹ̀ tí yóò tàn káàkiri.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ni wá.
KOIKIMEDIA àwa là ń gbé tó lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tiwa mọ́ ni.
Kásá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà wá kájé bùgbà yín jẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tiwa mọ́ ni.
À ń gbé tó lárugẹ, à ń gbàsà lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tiwa mọ́ ni.
News and sports ẹ máa rí gbọ́.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tiwa mọ́ ni.
Ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi ló ní kí n máa ké tantan. KOIKIMEDIA ọ̀rọ̀ lágbájúmọ̀ mi o, máa bá ṣẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ o. Ọmọ Yorùbá nìyẹn, ọmọ Yorùbá tata o. À ń gbádùn rẹ ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi, ṣẹ́yìn ló máa fi dìbò tẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa ń dé mádémádé, ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa wọ̀ o. Igbó máa wọ̀ gbàjòjì ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọ, àjòjì tó bá wọ bẹ́ẹ̀ á bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ẹbọra. Ẹ̀yin lọ máa náwó kóyìnbó tó dé, ìgbà tó yìnbó dé o, owó náà dẹ́ tún pọ̀ sí o. KOIKIMEDIA ṣàwa ní bàbá. KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Àdáńtọ́ àtúnpèrègèdè.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Àwa là ń gbé tò lárugẹ, jẹ́ ká jọ gbọ́ o.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Àtúnjà fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa, fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Ọmọ Oòduà ni wá o, tọkàntọkàn.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Ikú tí ó ṣe bí lébi òsì, àdìmú bàbá iyọ̀.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
We bring you up closer to your doorstep.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Afẹ́fẹ́ tó ń fẹ́ o tó ń kan gé oko lára ni.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Àpèrègèdè Olódùmarè ló fún wa ṣe.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Gbogbo ayé ẹ gbọ́, àwa ní bàbá o.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Ẹ máa bọ̀ wá ẹ.
Are killing Yorubas. And they kidnap from Yoruba side. Please, please, Joe Biden, free Yoruba nation. Let Yoruba nation go. Joe Biden, free Yoruba nation.
Oh yes.
Free Yoruba nation. Free Yoruba nation.
We are begging.
IGBOHO is in exile.
Yes.
And he's a free man.
Oh yes.
What's it? Nnamdi Kanu is a free man.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Constitution. 99 Constitution is a fraud.
Yes.
And it's expired.
Yes.
Why Yoruba are suffering?
Yes.
And we are getting killed day by day.
Enough.
Joe Biden,
Free us.
killing from Yoruba nation is enough.
Intervene.
Intervene in our problem.
Yes.
Come and solve our problem
No
in
going
Yoruba
back.
land. We are enough to stand. Yoruba nation.
No going back.
Yoruba nation.
No going back.
Yoruba nation.
No.
We need our nation. Joe Biden, come to our head before Yoruba land gets ruined. Please stand up for our help.
You don't want refugees.
Stand up for our help. Joe Biden, we need your assistance. We need your help.
Oh, yes.
Yoruba nation are crying. Yoruba nation are crying. Yoruba nation are shouting now.
Don't wait till you
Stand up for our help. Joe Biden, we are calling you now. Come for our help. This is Yoruba nation people. We are calling you to come for our help. Stand, help us, and let our nation stand. Yoruba nation, that is what we want. And at the same time, I would like to speak in my father's language, Yoruba language. Joe Biden, a fẹ́ gba òmìnira ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Èdè òyìnbó kì í ṣe ti bàbá mi. Gbogbo ìrìn àjò wa sí òkè òkun láti wá ṣe ìrànlọ́wọ́ fún àwọn ènìyàn wa ní. Gbogbo àwọn ènìyàn tó wà nílé wọ́n ti fẹ́ kú tán nítorí pé kí ni wọ́n ń sọ òdodo. Wọ́n ń wá ìrọ̀rùn fún ara wọn. Ṣùgbọ́n gbogbo ìjọba tí ó ti ń jẹ ní orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà wọ́n pa àwọn ọmọ ọkọ ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Wọn ò jẹ́ kí wọ́n lè sọ̀rọ̀. Wọ́n ń gba ẹ̀tọ́ wọn. Wọ́n dẹ̀ àwọn ìjọba wa wọ́n ṣe kí ni wọ́n gba ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ olódodo olótìtọ́ ènìyàn. Kò sí iléèwé, kò sí iléèwé, kò sí iná, kò sí omi, kò sọ́nà, kò sí iṣẹ́, kò sí pension fún àwọn bàbá wa tí wọ́n ti fẹ̀yìntì. Gbogbo ẹ̀yẹ ìyàwó tó wà ní ilé, a fi àkókò yìí, a fi ń rọ̀ yín, a fi ń bẹ̀ yín. Nítorí pé kí ni àkókò wa rèé láti sọ̀rọ̀ sókè. Àkókò wa rèé láti gba òmìnira. Kó má lọ di wípé a máa fi ilẹ̀ bàbá wa, a máa fi pìtàn. Elédùmarè ò dání jẹ́ ká fi pìtàn. Pẹ̀lú akitiyan àti ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní ilé àti àwọn tẹ́ wà lókè òkun, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká sowọ́pọ̀, ẹ jẹ́ ká pariwo fún àwọn ìjọba tó ṣe wípé àwọn ajẹkújẹrẹ ni wọ́n fẹ́ pa wá, wọ́n fẹ́ run wá. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká lajú wa kalẹ̀. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká lajú wa kalẹ̀. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin ìránṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run, kí lẹ ń ṣe? Iṣẹ́ wo lẹ gbà? Kí ni ẹ pírísì gan nínú Báíbù tẹ́ gbé dání? Ẹ̀yin Mùsùlùmí, kí lẹ ń ṣe? Tẹ́ ń ká nínú Kùránì. Ọmọ ọ̀jọ̀ yìí, oníṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ níbo lẹ wà? Kí ni ariwo tẹ́ ń pa fún àwọn ìjọba yìí? Kí ni àwọn iṣẹ́ tẹ́ ń gbéṣe lábẹ́lẹ̀ fún òmìnira ilẹ̀ Yorùbá? Ẹ má jẹ́ kí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ẹ má kó dìtàn. Ẹ má jẹ́ kí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ẹ má kó mẹ́rí. Afẹ́ ilẹ̀ wa, afẹ́ ilẹ̀ wa, afẹ́ ènìyàn wa. Ẹ jọ̀wọ́ abẹ̀yìn lákòókò yìí. Kí gbogbo Hausa Fúlàní ọ̀wọ́n ajínigbé kó lè dópin ní ilẹ̀ wa. Kó lè dópin ní ilẹ̀ wa. Abẹ̀yìn àrọ̀ yìí, inú wa ò dùn lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ gbà tí gbogbo wa ń ṣiṣẹ́ lókè òkun láti lè ṣe ìrànlọ́wọ́ fún àwọn ènìyàn tó wà nílé. Ṣùgbọ́n tó dáa jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ, kàkà kó sọ̀rọ̀ lára ọmọ ìyá jẹ́ pípẹ́lú ló ń pele sí. Abẹ̀yìn àrọ̀ yìí, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá ní fún ọ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ kan náà, tẹ́ ní ọlá, tó ṣe wípé ẹ lè ṣe ìrànlọ́wọ́ fún ọmọ Yorùbá ní ọ̀nà kan àbí míì láti lè ṣàṣeyọrí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ̀yin olódodo ènìyàn ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, ẹ dìde sọ́rọ̀ wa, ẹ dìde sí ọ̀rọ̀ wa kó tó di wípé Hausa Fúlàní wọ́n gba ilẹ̀ wa. Fẹ̀ẹ̀kọ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ wọ́n ti wà nínú ilẹ̀ wa nítorí wọ́n ti ń jọba Fúlàní ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Èwo là ń wò, kí là ń ṣe? Ẹ̀yin ẹlẹ́sìn ọlọ́mọ ẹ̀ka ẹ̀ṣẹ̀sìn nítorí wípé kí ni ojoojúmọ́ òun ní ìjọ òun ló ń pele sí ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Kí ni gbogbo àṣeyọrí tẹ́ ti ṣe? Gbogbo wàásù wo lẹ ti wàásù? Iṣẹ́ wo lẹ ti ṣe lọ́dọ̀ àwọn ìjọba wa láti lè jẹ́ kí wọ́n ronú pìwàdà? Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ abẹ̀yìn di àkókò yìí àkókò àṣeyọrí wa ni àkókò yìí àkókò ilẹ̀ ìlérí wa ni ẹ jẹ́ kájọ pawọ́pọ̀ kájọ pa ìjọba burúkú rẹ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá kí gbogbo àwọn ìjọba kíjọba kí wọ́n lè kúrò kó gbá wọn kó lọ síbi tó bá fẹ́ lọ àwọn tó sọ pé Nàìjíríà lẹ́nìí ipe kí Tinubu ipe kó wá sórí ìjọba ipe ọmọ wọn ni ipe kí ẹja kí o ṣe wọ́n ní ọmọ ẹni kò ní ṣe nígbà bẹ̀rẹ̀ ká lọ fi ilẹ̀kẹ̀ sídìí ọmọ ẹlòmíì ẹjọ́ àti ilẹ̀kẹ̀ àti ìdí báwo ló ṣe jẹ́ lẹ́nu ibo ni wọ́n bá dé lẹ́nu àṣeyọrí wo lẹ ti gbà oúnjẹ wo lẹ ti jẹ aṣọ wo lẹ ti wọ̀ iléèwé wo lẹ ti ń lọ ní ìsinyìí tí wọn ò gbowó lọ́wọ́ yín pẹ̀lú àwọn ènìyàn wa kan tí wọ́n tún jáde lẹ́nu ọjọ́ mẹ́ta yìí láti lè lọ fún kí lorúkọ yẹn láti lè fi ẹnu ẹ̀hónú hàn ẹ wo bí wọ́n ṣe ń yìnbọn sí wọn tí wọ́n ń pa wọ́n àwọn ọ̀dọ́ àwọn ọjọ́ ọ̀la wa wọ́n ń pa wọ́n fi agolo sí wọn lẹ́nu kọ́ má lè sọ̀rọ̀ kọ́ má lè pọ̀ sí tó bá ń parú àwọn ènìyàn báyìí mélòó lólódodo tó máa kù nílẹ̀ Yorùbá fẹ̀kọ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ wọ́n ti ń pa gbogbo àwọn olódodo tó jẹ́ àgbààgbà ilẹ̀ Yorùbá gbogbo ohun tẹ́ ń wó níwájú ní ìsìn tẹ́ pè lọ́ba tẹ́ pè níjòyè tẹ́ pè ní àwọn chairman tẹ́ pè ní àwọn senator tẹ́ pè ní àwọn speaker yín honourable òdo lẹ́yìn òdo ni wọn ò ní nǹkan kan tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe fún yín tí wọ́n bá sọ òtítọ́ fún yín lójú yín tó bá yí iṣẹ́ padà aburú yín òun náà máa lépa ẹ jọ mo bẹ̀ yín mo rọ̀ yín ní ẹ má jẹ́ kó rẹ̀ wá ẹ má jẹ́ kó sùn wá nítorí àwọn táwa lẹ́yìn òdì náà à ń ṣe iṣẹ́ lọ́tún lọ́sì wípé kí ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa ká lè dìde kí gbogbo àkàlẹ̀jọ rọra lọ́wọ́ ká fi òtítọ́ ṣe ká fi òdodo ṣe ẹ jọ ẹ jẹ́ ká dúró lórí ẹsẹ̀ wa méjèèjì àkókò yìí ni o nítorí kó má lọ pẹ́ jù tíjọba míì tó bá tún padà lọ gorí oyè yóò pa ilẹ̀ Yorùbá rẹ́ ṣùgbọ́n mo gbà ládùúrà nínú afẹ́fẹ́ mo ti sọ sí yìí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá kò ní parẹ́ kò ní parun kò ní dìtàn láṣẹ Èdùmàrè mo kí yín nílé o ẹ ṣeun. Joe Biden, we need our nation Yorùbá nation Yorùbá nation Yorùbá nation. mẹ́tàlá nù.
Yorùbá nation. Yorùbá nation. Yorùbá nation. Our protocol observed. We are the people of Southern West Yoruba of Nigeria.
Yes, ma'am.
We are called Yorubas.
Yeah.
If you look all over the world, the main people that you will see all over the world is Yoruba.
Yeah.
We are everywhere.
Yeah.
And we are doing excellently all over the world. But when you go back to Nigeria, people cannot walk. Parents cannot feed their children. Children cannot go to school. Pregnant women are dying every day. People cannot send their children to school. No money to pay school fees. A lot of families are becoming homeless every day. This is not our culture. We are suffering. And that's why the people of Yoruba, that's why we gathered here today. To tell all the leaders of the whole universe that gathered here today for the 78th United Nations. We are here. We are appealing to them. Come to our rescue. Rescue Yoruba people. We are suffering. Do not leave us alone. You are listening to us and you are hearing us. You all know what is happening in Nigeria. We cannot speak. And we are dying. How long do you want to continue this? How long do you want to continue to suffer? Can you rise up for us? And we are appealing to everybody. For all those that can fight. Here in America, people can eat. They have money. They have jobs. But in Nigeria, to send your children to school, you have to suffer. And after graduation, no money.
No job.
Parents invested all what they are suffering for to send their children to school. But at the end of the day, nothing to show her. People are committing suicide. All because they have no money to feed their children. For how long do you want us to continue this? Is this life? No. Is this life?
No
life. Is this life?
No.
When you come to America, When you go to all the establishments,
Yoruba
what we see
nation.
there is Yoruba people. Go to the medical line. It is where there you find the Yoruba people.
Yes.
When you go to the nursing, go to high school,
Yes.
you find Yoruba people there. We Yoruba people, we are the one that make up Nigeria.
Yes.
We are the best in Nigeria.
Yes.
Every resources comes out from our land,
Yes.
but we cannot feed.
Yes.
We have no money.
Yes.
And they said we don't need to live, but we have to live.
And we are living.
We have to live. We are
Yes,
human
we are
beings.
living.
God has created us to live.
Yes.
No more dying.
No more
Don't
dying.
neglect us.
Enough.
This is time.
Enough.
We want to go out of Nigeria.
Yes.
We want to go out of Nigeria.
Yes.
We want to go out of Nigeria.
Yes.
Enough is enough.
Yes.
Enough is enough.
Yes.
Enough is enough.
Yes.
And that's why we are so calling on every Yoruba
Yes.
all over the world.
You the
You
Yoruba.
get silent.
Yes.
You
You
think
the
people
leader.
here have no job.
Also, great
You think they
senator.
don't know what they are doing, and that's why they
Yes.
gather every day
Yoruba.
to fight.
Wake up.
But we are gathered here to fight for our people back home.
People you are
We
ready.
are Yorubas.
Yoruba
We are
nation.
Yorubas.
Yes.
We don't want to forget our land.
Yes.
We don't want our land to be taken
can't
away from
forget
us.
our land.
And that's why we are shouting.
Yes.
That's why we are crying.
Yes.
That pounds our head.
No,
We
we
want to be free. We want to be free.
Yes.
We want to be free.
Yes.
We want to be free.
Freedom.
We are not
Freedom.
slaves. We are not slaves.
Freedom.
We are not
Yes,
slaves.
ma'am.
Enough is enough.
Enough is
Enough is enough.
Enough is
Enough is
enough.
enough.
No, no, no.
Lord leaders, come out
Yes.
and help us.
Intervene.
And help us.
Intervene.
Yeah, because people back home, they cannot even go out to protest.
They can't
And
even
they are
talk.
dying in silence.
Enough.
They are dying every day.
No,
Yeah.
But they cannot talk.
Yeah.
They cannot talk.
Yeah.
They cannot talk. The moment they talk, they are shot.
Yeah.
They are killed.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
molested.
They are arrested by
Ah,
police.
we are calling you people.
Yes.
We need help.
Yes.
Yoruba people need help.
Yoruba nation.
Come out and help us.
Oh,
Come out and help
No,
us.
no, no.
Come out and help us.
Yes.
Come out and help us.
Yes.
Come out and
No
help
more
us. We
killing.
are dying.
Yes.
We are dying.
Enough.
We are dying.
Enough.
We are dying.
Enough.
We are dying.
Enough.
Arise for us.
Yes.
Arise for Yoruba
Intervene.
nation. Yoruba nation must not
Intervene.
die.
Yes,
Yoruba nation must
Oh,
not be
yes.
silent.
We live
That is where we have all the
We
resources.
live forever.
They are
No
everybody.
going back.
All
No
over the
going
world.
back. Yes.
All over the
Intervene.
world.
Yeah,
Intervene.
They are the one
Intervene.
enjoying our resources.
Yeah.
Our God-given resources
Yeah, yeah.
are being enjoyed.
Yeah.
All over the world.
Resources.
But
Children
what are
are
we
dying.
enjoying?
Yeah.
Children
What
are
are we
dying.
enjoying?
Yeah.
Nothing to show for you.
Yeah.
And we are the people.
Yeah.
Yoruba people are blessed.
Yeah.
We do
Yoruba
very
people are
resources.
blessed.
Yeah.
Yoruba
Yeah.
people are
No going
blessed.
back.
We need to go.
Enough.
We are going.
Enough.
We are going.
Enough.
We are living.
No going back.
We are living.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
are going.
Enough.
And when it is time,
Freedom.
when it is time to
Freedom.
Yeah, we are to
live,
live.
when is the time to live?
Yeah.
When is the time to live?
No, no, no.
We are living. We are living. We are living.
Wọ́n súnmọ́ bí gbogbo nǹkan tá à ń sọ ni I've gone there twice. I've gone there twice.
Hello, everyone. We are calling on to everybody throughout the whole world. We are calling on Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. We need your help. We need your intervention.
Yes.
Nigerian people are suffering.
Yes.
We are dying. Our silence is killing us. We need your help. We need you to come out to help us. We need you to come for
Yes.
our rescue. Our people are dying every day.
Yes.
Our graduates, there are so many Yoruba people in Nigeria. So many graduates.
Without job.
They don't have no job.
Yes.
There is no 3 square meals
Yes.
a day. People are suffering in hunger. They are suffering. They are suffering of
What type of
bad
suffering?
health. They are not being taken care of. We don't have good health. We don't have good medical services.
No good road.
No good health.
Amenities.
No
Good
employment.
housing system.
Amenities, but our leaders are sitting on top of it.
Yoruba nation.
All the money, all the resources are not being circulated into the system. They keep it to themselves.
Yes.
Please, we need your help.
Intervene.
We need the whole world assistance
Worldwide.
so we can get out of Nigeria.
Yes.
Amalgamation of 1940 is expired.
Expired.
Why Nigeria is no longer working.
Long time ago.
We need to get separated for the people of
Enough is
Nigeria.
enough.
We need to get out of Nigeria.
Yes.
We Yoruba nation, we are calling onto the whole world.
Worldwide.
We are calling for your help. We are calling Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. We need your intervention
Help,
to this matter. Please help us.
Help.
Come to our rescue.
We need help.
Come to our aid.
Yoruba nation.
Help us.
No
We
going
the
back.
Yoruba part
Yes.
of Nigeria. We need to exit right now.
Now.
There is no more delay. We don't want any more delay. We
No
need to go
going back.
out of
It's
Nigeria
enough.
right now.
Enough is enough.
The suffering is too much.
Yes.
The brutalism is too much.
Oh yes.
Killing is too much.
Yes.
Our children cannot walk in the streets.
Yes.
Our women, our pregnant women, they cannot walk in
They are
the
dying.
Ambassadors in
streets.
Nigeria
The
know
northern
this.
part
Why are they not telling you the
attack
truth?
us to kill our people.
No going back.
Nigeria, why
To
you are
kill
doing
our children.
Yes.
Please help us.
Help.
We are calling for your help all over the
Help.
world. Please help us.
Help.
We need you to come out to our rescue.
Now.
Please. We are exiting Nigeria
No
right
going
now.
back.
We don't want no delay anymore. We need to leave right now.
Enough is enough. We cannot sleep.
They don't circulate the money into the system. They keep the money to themselves.
Yes.
So this slavery is too much. We don't want it no more. We want our own sovereign
Yoruba
nation.
nation. Yoruba nation. No going back.
Yoruba nation.
No going back.
Please help us. We need your help. We are calling to everybody's help. We are calling to you. Please come out to our rescue.
Intervene.
Intervene. Please help us. Come and intervene into our problem. We are suffering. No food, no good road, no education, no security. Every day there is fear that feeds over our hearts. We cannot sleep in peace. We cannot sleep in peace.
Enough is enough.
Every night, every morning,
We are
there is
here.
fear in our mind.
We can't go to the farm. We can't go to the farm.
Please, we cannot go to farm. There is scarcity
We are
of food.
here.
All the farmers are not
Yoruba nation.
because of food. We need our nation now. We need our sovereign nation now. Yoruba nation.
No going back. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. We shall always fight for our rights. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Lie, solidarity forever. We shall always fight for our rights. Solidarity forever. Solidarity fún ìjọba tó jáde. Àyàfi tó bá fòkun sọ. Solidarity fún ìjọba tó jáde. Solidarity fún ìjọba tó jáde. Solidarity fún ìjọba tó jáde. Àyàfi tó bá fòkun sọ tọmọtọmọ.
Yorùbá nation. Ẹ jẹ́ ká bá àwọn èèyàn wa sọ̀rọ̀ ní orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Gbogbo àwọn tá a wà níbí orí ọ̀fẹ́ la ní àti ìtara àti ìfẹ́ fún àwọn èèyàn wa tó wà ní orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. A rí ìyànjẹ tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀, a rí ìgbèkùn tí wọ́n ti kó àwọn bàbá wa sí. Àwọn bàbá wa kan ti jẹ èso àjàrà, eyín kan àwọn ọmọ tó fi sílẹ̀. A ṣe wò pé gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọ̀rọ̀ inú ìwé mímọ́ pé ẹni tó bá ní ọmọ ó ní yóò lè dúró ní etí ibodè, adúró bá àwọn ọ̀tá rẹ̀ dúró pẹ̀lú. Àwọn ọmọ tó fi sílẹ̀ làwọn dúró lónìí. A ní ọwọ́ wa ti tẹ ikú dà, a sì fẹ́ béèrè ikú tó pa àwọn bàbá wa. Adúgbò lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó ṣíwájú, àwọn tó ṣíwá ní gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ tí wọn ò fẹ́ ká kú àkún, wọn ò sì fẹ́ ká parun gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìran Yorùbá. Ẹ ṣeun bàbá wa Akíntóyè, ẹ ṣeun bàbá wa Sunday Ìgbòho, ẹ ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá tọkàntọkàn nílé lóko lẹ́kùnlé níbi tí ìdòwò ká ní wọn. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn ènìyàn wa tó wà níbí, àkókò ni wọ́n fi sílẹ̀, ààyè ni wọ́n fi kalẹ̀, kì í ṣe nítorí pé wọn ò ní ohun tó fẹ́ ṣe. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní àwọn olóṣèlú tàbí àwọn kápẹ̀ wọn ní àwọn òjẹ̀lú tàbí akápẹ̀ wọn ní àwọn tó kórìíra ìran wọn, wọ́n ní àwọn elébi ló ń wá síwájú UN nation láti pariwo fún orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Ṣùgbọ́n ẹ jẹ́ ká fi rí ara wa, kò sẹ́ni tó ń tọrọ oúnjẹ jẹ ní àwọn tó wà níbí, kò sẹ́ni tó ń tọrọ aṣọ wọ̀ ní ẹni tó wà níbí. Wọ́n ní tilé oge ó tó kéje. Wọ́n tọ ìlú wọn bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àtọ́nílé àtàlejò tó bá dénú ìlú yìí. Yorùbá nation, Yorùbá nation. Pé wọ́n fún wa ní orí ọ̀fẹ́ àwọn nǹkan. Ebi ò ní pa ẹ́. Wàá rí ètò ìwòsàn ọ̀fẹ́. Wàá sì ní ilé tó lè gbé tàbí tó lè sùn. These are 3 fundamental rights. Ní orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá, wọn ò jẹ́ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Mo ní ọ̀rọ̀ wa ni wọ́n ń kó. Let me say it in English. I am not appealing to President Biden. I differ from my colleagues here. I'm appealing to the good Americans that are out here. Because all of these world leaders are birds of the same feather. They flock together. They serve their self-interests and not the best interests of their people. Therefore, I'm looking to the good people of the world, the good Americans that are here, and the good people of the entire world. And I'm appealing to your conscience that you please listen to what we have to say. As Yorubas, we want our own nation. And as Africans, we want to be free. Because all of the resources that funds your well-being, your way of life, your lifestyle, comes absolutely from Africa. Everywhere, Africa, how can it be that Africa is the greatest, the richest continent on the face of earth, and the inhabitants are the poorest people on the same earth? Why are you giving aid to Africa when Africa is self-sufficient? That's because you have policies in place that you protect with your blood and your life to ensure that Africans don't get out of bondage. We're saying enough is enough. At least Yorubas are saying we want to have our own freedom. The Yorubas are saying we want to have our own country. A country that will self-govern, that will self-determine what we do. A country that no other man can hold and slave onto your power. And I understand why you will not let go. Because we want to stop coming to you with pens in our hands to beg for arms when we can produce for ourselves what we need as a people. When we can generate for ourselves what we need, what our citizens need. When we can protect ourselves with our own resources. But You are the ones that will give us loans that never leave your banks. We sign loans that will keep us in perpetual bondage. You assure our leaders to take loans that never get to Africa.
Enough is enough.
We're saying enough
It's enough.
We know your games, and we say you should put an end to it. Stop supporting leaders of African countries that are subjugate to you, that are supporting that take orders from this Western world.
Yes.
No, we should not be second-class citizens. And that reminds me of the words of at the UN headquarters, that until there's no more first-class or second-class citizens in the world, there will be trouble. We're saying that let us be. Give us our own nation. Fortunately, we have children that are also American citizens. We have children that are British citizens.
Enough is enough.
We have children that are French citizens.
Right.
We're saying that our children are also part of your society. So, the United States or France or Britain do not exist in a vacuum. You exist along with the rest of the world.
Yes.
For international peace and prosperity, we're saying that what is good for the goose is also good for the gander.
Yes.
Let Africans be free.
Freedom.
Let Africans be free.
Freedom.
Let Africans be free.
Freedom.
Our brothers are not our enemies.
Oh yes.
The leaders of Africans have been co-opted or have been coached
Yes.
to put Africans in slavery.
Oh yes.
Therefore, we want to elect our own government, want to put our own system of government in place,
Yes.
and we're asking for you to always support us. That's all. We're not begging you. These truth will come to light. Whether you like it
Or not.
or you don't.
Yes.
The truth, we always stand forever. We stand the test of time.
Yoruba nation. Yoruba nation.
No going back.
No going back.
Yoruba nation.
Yoruba nation.
No going back.
Yoruba
No
nation.
going back.
Yoruba nation.
No going back.
No retreat.
No surrender.
No retreat.
No surrender.
No retreat.
No surrender.
We are not going back.
Yes.
Yoruba nation is not going back.
Oh.
I just want to address us this afternoon. Maybe I can also speak Yoruba.
Go ahead.
Our people back home will understand what I'm about to say.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Àwọn Yorùbá wọn máa ń pa òwe wípé ọjọ́ tí wèrè bá mọ̀ wípé òun ja wèrèwèrè lòun ọjọ́ náà ló máa rí wòsàn.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Àwa Yorùbá tá a wà nínú Nàìjíríà wèrè ní gbogbo wa. Ọjọ́ tí a bá realize wípé wèrè ni wá pé a wà nínú Nàìjíríà ọjọ́ náà la máa rí wòsàn
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
tá a máa kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn Yorùbá ìtí wọ́n wà fún ni wípé bámúbámú lèmi yóò èmi ò mọ̀ tó ní pọ́mọ ẹnìkan kan. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn Yorùbá àmọ́ àǹfààní tá a máa rí gbà nínú orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá wa. Tá a bá wò àǹfààní púpọ̀ ló wà ṣùgbọ́n àwọn ìjọba Nàìjíríà wọn ò jẹ́ kí àwọn èèyàn kí wọ́n lè gbọ́. Wọ́n ti ra ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn wa ní iyè. Wọ́n ti fi ìpọ́njú ra àwọn èèyàn níyè. Wọ́n ti fi òṣì ra àwọn èèyàn níyè. Wọ́n ti fi ìyà wọ́n ti fi ra àwọn èèyàn wa tó jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá ọmọ aládé. Wọ́n ti fi ra wa níyè. Wọ́n ti jẹ́ dodo. Wọn ò lè sòdodo mọ́. Tá a bá wò ó, àǹfààní wo ló wà tá a bá gba Yorùbá nation? Àkọ́kọ́ ni wípé èdè wa gbòógì èdè Yorùbá ló máa jẹ́ èdè wa tá a máa lò.
No going back.
Tá a bá wọ gbogbo àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè tó ń develop ní gbogbo àgbáyé èdè wọn ni. Nítorí pé Ọlọ́run Elédùmarè ó fún wa ní èdè láti lè ṣe ohun gbogbo. Èdè wa ló máa mú technology wá. Èdè wa ló máa mú everything tá a bá ń fẹ́. Èdè wa ló máa mú wá. Ẹ wo àwọn China, ẹ wo àwọn Swedish, ẹ wo àwọn Germany, àwọn Spanish, gbogbo nǹkan tí wọ́n ń ṣe, àwọn Japanese, èdè wọn ni. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá wa wọn ò tún lè ṣe èdè tí wọ́n wà Nàìjíríà. Nítorí pé wọ́n gba oyin lọ́wọ́ wa, wọ́n gba góòlù lọ́wọ́ wa, wọ́n wá gbé padà lé wa lọ́wọ́ ní èdè òyìnbó jẹ́. Ìdí àkọ́kọ́ nìyẹn. Ìdí ẹ̀kejì ni wípé tá a bá ní Yorùbá nation kò ní sí anything like quota system tí àwọn Fúlàní tí wọ́n lò against àwa Yorùbá. Nítorí pé láti ọlọ́yẹ ti dáyé tí ẹ bá ṣe jam àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá wọ́n lè score 250 wọn ò ní ráyè wọlé. Ọmọ nọ́ọ̀tì, ọmọ Haúsá, ọmọ Fúlàní àwọn lè gba 50 wọ́n lè gba 100 wọ́n á jẹ́ kí wọ́n wọlé. Wọ́n ti bà ọjọ́ iwájú àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá jẹ́. Wọ́n ti ra wá níyè nípa quota system. Kí a bá gba Yorùbá nation wa kò ní sí ẹni ìdíjẹ́ quota system mọ́. Ìtọ́ bá mọ̀ ni ìtọ́ bá mọ̀wé wọn á gbé e síbẹ̀. Kò ní sí wípé Haúsá ni ẹ́, Fúlàní ni ẹ́ nínú Yorùbá nation. Yorùbá ìtọ́ bá mọ̀ ni ibi tó bá ṣe yẹ láti wà ni wọ́n á gbé e sí. Kò ní sí ojúsàájú nípa quota system mọ́. Ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹta tí mo fẹ́ kí àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá kí iye wa kó sí ni wípé tá a bá ní Yorùbá nation wa kò ní sí ẹni Fúlàní agbénipa, kò ní sí àǹfààní fún àwọn Fúlàní agbénipa tó ń gba àwọn ọmọ wa tó ń gba Yorùbá tí wọ́n ń rẹ́pù, tí wọ́n fi tí ń rẹ́pù àwọn èèyàn wa, tí ń rẹ́pù àwọn àǹtí wa, tí ń rẹ́pù àwọn mọ̀mọ́ wa, tí wọ́n rẹ́pù aláboyún, tí wọ́n rẹ́pù ọmọ kékeré. Kò ní sí yẹn mọ́ ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ìyẹn gangan tá a bá fẹ́ lé àwọn Fúlàní lọ, a lè wà ní Nàìjíríà ká sọ wípé a nífẹ̀ẹ́ àwọn Fúlàní. Àwọn Fúlàní á tún wá máa jẹ gàba ni. Ibi bí Tinubu bó ṣe wà bẹ́ẹ̀ yìí kò dá àwọn Fúlàní dúró. Wọ́n tún pa àwọn èèyàn wa lọ́sàn-án lóru lójoojúmọ́.
Enough is enough.
Wọ́n ń pa àwọn èèyàn wa ní ojoojúmọ́ ni. So Tinubu kò ní nǹkan ṣe pẹ̀lú Yorùbá. Òun lọ síbẹ̀ nítorí his own personal interest ni. Kìí ṣe interest over 60 million Yorùbás that are living in Yoruba nation, in Yoruba land. So gbogbo yẹn tá a bá fẹ́ kí Fúlàní tá a fẹ́ kí wọ́n pa àwọn èèyàn wa mọ́, kí wọ́n gba ilẹ̀ wa mọ́, a gbọ́dọ̀ gba Yorùbá nation.
Yorùbá nation. No going back.
Ìdí kẹrin ni wípé tí a bá gba Yorùbá nation, ètò ẹ̀kọ́ tó yè péré ó máa wà fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwọn bàbá wa lọ́wọ́ bí wọ́n ṣe ṣe nígbà tí wọ́n jẹ́ prime minister ní Western State. A rí i pé ẹ̀kọ́ ọ̀fẹ́ náà ni àwọn bàbá Bọ́lá Ìgè ni wọ́n ṣe. Michael Ajasi, Ọ̀nàbánjọ, Chief Ọ̀nàbánjọ, Láti Jákàndé, gbogbo Western State wọ́n ṣe free education. Nítorí pé àwọn bàbá yìí wọ́n mọ iyì ẹ̀kọ́. Therefore, tá a bá gba Yorùbá nation, a máa mú ẹ̀kọ́ ní gbòógì. Nítorí pé ẹ̀kọ́ yìí ló lè mú ìpọ́njú kúrò, ló lè mú òṣì kúrò, ló lè mú ìbànújẹ́ kúrò. Ìdí karùn-ún ni wípé tí a bá gba Yorùbá nation, a máa ṣe ètò ààbò tó nípa. Ètò ààbò tó nípa ó máa wà fún gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri. Bóyá àgbàlagbà ni ẹni, bóyá ọmọ kékeré ni ẹni. Ètò ààbò tó nípa tó yẹ pé bí security ṣe wà ní ìlú Amẹ́ríkà yìí, bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni there will be a security architect fún àwọn èèyàn wa ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá nítorí pé a ní àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri orígun mẹ́rẹ̀ẹ̀rin àgbáyé tí orí wọn pé a ní àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri orígun mẹ́rẹ̀ẹ̀rin àgbáyé tí wọ́n ní ìmọ̀ tí wọ́n ní ọgbọ́n nítorí pé ọlọ́pọlọ pípé ni Ọlọ́run Elédùmarè ló dá àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá èèwọ̀ ṣe tí àwọn ọmọ aládé tí a fi ń jẹ̀yà tí a fi di ẹrú ìdí tá a fi lè di ẹrú mọ́ ni wípé kí Yorùbá tó kúrò ní ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà ìdí kẹfà ni wípé tí a bá gba orílẹ̀-èdè wa Yorùbá tá a bá gba orílẹ̀-èdè wa Yorùbá ìdí kẹfà ni wípé àwọn ènìyàn tí ọgbọ́n wọn pé àwọn ènìyàn tí a ní ìmọ̀ káàkiri orígun àgbáyé tí wọ́n jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá wọ́n máa wá sí ilé láti wá dá iṣẹ́ sílẹ̀ láti wá tún ilé bàbá wọn ṣe ẹ wo mọ́tò tó ra airport káàkiri ní gbogbo Europe yẹn ọmọ Yorùbá ni gbogbo orú àwọn èèyàn yìí wọ́n á wálé ṣùgbọ́n ní ìṣẹ́jú òsì security báwo la ṣe fẹ́ kí wọ́n wálé báwo la ṣe fẹ́ kí wọ́n wá dá ilé sí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá kò lè possible Islam tá a bá wà ní ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà kò sí àlàáfíà fún ọmọ Yorùbá kankan. As long as we are still in Nigeria ọmọ Yorùbá kankan ò lè gbérí kì í ṣe ti president là ń sọ àìmọye ọ̀gọ̀lọ́gọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá tí ìyà ń jẹ tí ìpọ́njú wà fún wọn á wò nísìnyí àwọn èèyàn ò ró jẹjẹ àwọn èèyàn ò rí nǹkan kan ṣe kò sóúnjẹ àwọn èèyàn olówó kò síṣẹ́ kò síná ìdí kẹjẹ ni wípé tá a bá gba ilẹ̀ Yorùbá a máa ṣe iná 24 hours non-stopping electricity ó máa wà gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tí wọ́n mọ̀ nípa nípa ọ̀rọ̀ iná a máa pè wọ́n all over the world wọ́n máa wá àwọn tó máa ṣe solar máa wà àwọn tó máa ṣe nuclear power wọ́n máa wà oríṣiríṣi àwọn hydro wọ́n máa wà wọ́n máa ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ tí iná máa wà dáàbò sí ẹ̀wà tí a lè lò fún iná dáàbò tó lè supply gbogbo iná ọmọ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ó wà ní Ìṣẹ́yìn tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn ò sì mà dáàbò yẹn wà ní Ìṣẹ́yìn tó máa supply gbogbo iná fún gbogbo ìpínlẹ̀ mẹ́jẹ̀ẹ̀jọ tó wà ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá kí ló ń ṣe àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tí a ronú jinlẹ̀ kí ló ń ṣe àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tá a tún fẹ́ kọ̀ntínú láti wà ní oko ẹrú Nàìjíríà ò lè sọ wá di nǹkan kan o.
Maybe this is your first time, you'll be joining us on this network. This is called the Star Radio UK. It comes up every Wednesday as we review. We looked at so much of what is happening, mostly within the Nigerian community in Nigeria and likewise outside Nigeria as well. So what we're going to do, like I said, if you're going to be watching it tonight, there's going to be two screens. We will keep the screen on my left-hand side where it is all happening. We'll see if we can get just a snip of what is happening there in just about a few minutes. But once again, every Wednesday, this is how we kickstart the event right here, as we say. Remember that we've been telling you that there is going to be a general rally in New York, and that seems to be kicking out as I speak to you right now. The question many Nigerians are asking is, the president have gone now, he has spoken, and I'll be telling you some of what he has said. In case you're not aware, that is why we're here. We're going to tell you everything. If you like the kind of outfit that I'm putting on, that literally means that I think what we should do, let us release my audio for the benefit of those that are now watching us, because we can now focus only on the images coming from New York. And I guess if everything is right, I should have a clear audio of myself to our viewers from the other side as well. Let's see if we can get that audio in. Let's see. I think my audio should be on now. Yeah. So thank you once again, those of you that have joined us tonight. What I'll do is I'll leave the upgoing event in New York while we continue to monitor that. We will continue to pick up the soundtrack, from here as there's a lot going on simultaneously. We will continue to give you updates of everything you need to know. So sit back and let me drive you home tonight. Once again, if this is going to be your first time you're watching me from anywhere in Africa, I'll say good evening and welcome once again. Well, we try to welcome you so that you can settle down into the program. There's a lot going on, and I once again say,
broadcasting worldwide online 24/7. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
Once again, there is a lot going on, and let me appreciate those of you that have joined us so far.
UK. This is Star Radio UK. In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
in your car,
At work,
at home.
on your smartphone. The best radio show. The best radio show.
Well, it is, the best radio show, and this is what we do every Wednesday. We bring it to you live here. We want to know, your own take. Put the comment out there. I'll be reading your comment later on as well. So make sure, you put the comment out there. I'll be reading those comments, and I'll be telling you, the outcome later on as well. But tonight, it's all about the engagement at the United Nations General Assembly, and it seems that the president spoke yesterday, just about late night yesterday, and it seems that already the reaction, I've been reading some of the reaction, the reaction is quite interesting. Some say that this is not my president. This is not my president. So I don't know if that is not your president, but he has actually spoken at the United Nations General Assembly. So quite a lot to discuss. Like I said, bear with us. There's so much happening in the other part of the globe. And my job is to, give it to you as it is happening as well. So where do we start? Where do we start? Let me know, where should we start, when it comes to the current situation in Nigeria? Where should we start? Because it seems that there's so much going on, and I would like to say good evening once again, to my producer. I can continue to monitor the screen on the other side. Let's listen to these because I love to listen to these. It gives us a kind of a background when it comes to African leaders that go to places like the United Nations, and they are going to say, we need this, we need that. And let us now listen to Louis Farrakhan.
None of you can deny that what I'm saying is the truth. You know it's the truth. But either you won't write it, or you're too cowardly to speak it, because you want some favor here or favor there. So because you can't talk, you are muzzled. I'm not. I'm a free black man. And I didn't come here looking for a handout. And I really don't think you need one. Your problem is that you think you need a handout. Everything you need is right under your foot, but you're looking everywhere else for help instead of to yourself and what you can produce for yourself. This is Africa's dilemma. You are parading yourself before the world as international beggars when you gave civilization to the world.
Okay, so do you agree, with that? Are we international beggars? I've studied part of what the president said at the United Nations General Assembly. I'll be giving you as much of that, in the course of the program tonight. I'd like to appreciate those of you from Lagos State that are watching us right now. Good evening to you, our mother, Iyabo Olubumiluwale. Good evening to you, Akim Ayodele. Good evening to those of you on the TikTok, OLAMILEKAN. Good evening. And shout out to my team that have traveled to Ilorin. Safe journey back to Lagos. It is not easy to travel all the way from Lagos to Ilorin. We wish them safe journey back. Yusuf Ujumola, good evening to my beautiful mother. Good evening to Professor Adebanji Akintoye, the leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination. Shout out to the Biafrans. Shout out to the Hausas, the Arewa. Akambi, David, good evening to you. Ola Green, good evening to you. Tibo, good evening to you. Our mother, Abosede Rachel, say Yoruba nation, no going back. If the only solution to our problem is to have our own nation. And again, like I said, on the other side of the screen is New York, where there is an ongoing, what we can call a peaceful rally. Wealth G, good evening to you. If you're watching me from India, good evening to you. If you're watching from America, shout out to those of you that have participated, especially, the Yoruba mega rally under the leadership of Prophet Ologun Oluwa. TJ, good evening to you. I could see a lot of the Yoruba people with their emblems, with their flags, asking for one thing and one thing alone, the right to self-determination. Once again, my job tonight, Gani Oloyede, good evening to you, and welcome once again. Let us, Gani Oloyede, say, please, let's start from the President Tinubu lies. First and foremost, he spoke for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, spoke just about under 19 minutes, 32 seconds. It was not even up to 20 minutes. I think Joe Biden spoke for about 28 minutes or thereabout, if I'm right. Shout out to those of you on our Twitter space. Good evening, Nonso. And those of you that will be watching this program, DJ Simplicity, good evening to you. Good evening to Mr. Abiodun De Olu. King BJ, good evening to you. And let me just kickstart once again. As we continue to monitor what is happening in New York, I'm going to give you the first summary of what the United Nations have posted on their own website to what the President Bola Tinubu, a lot of those presidents have spoken. I think I'm going to be talking more about later on. Switzerland. I listened to the Switzerland. Most of you probably would not understand that Switzerland, remember, why we need to remember Switzerland, that is where Larry Lamino said, Lai President. Switzerland by road is going to take me about 11 hours, 31 minutes. Switzerland is a mountainous Central European country, home to numerous lakes and villages. But that is where those criminals, politicians, the late Sani Abacha and the rest of them have stolen the wealth of Nigeria and deposited it to Switzerland. The whole population is less than 8 million. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about Switzerland, but tonight, the focus is going to be on Nigeria. Mr. Kayode Afolabi, a very good evening to you. And those of you that are watching us, keep your comment coming. Akambi Davis saying Nigeria is a scam, no going back, Yoruba nation. I want you to tell me what you think about President Bola Tinubu's speech at the United Nations yesterday. But let me first figure out, where do we start? Should we start from what he actually said, and then it will be easy for us to digest it and summarize it quickly? And I think that should be the norm. What do you think? I think that should be where we should start from. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go and bring you what the president said just 17 hours. Today is the 20th day of September, 2023. If you're watching me for the very first time, my name is OLAMILEKAN Koiki, and this program is brought to you, every Wednesday at about almost 7:30 for the last an hour. Is going to be a sponsor program from Ilano Omo Odua under the leadership of Professor Adebanji Akintoye. And there we're going to be speaking in Yoruba. We're going to be telling you what we need to know from the Biafra, the sit at home tomorrow. Continue. I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know. Shout out to those of you in Kaduna. Shout out to those of you in Katsina. Good evening, Nuruddin Ajani Busari. Shout out to those of you in Anambra, Imo State. Shout out to you all at the 36th state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Shout out to those of you in Abuja. Once again, if you like the kind of outfit that I'm putting on tonight again, let me appreciate the fashion designer that I've decided that every Wednesday we should look very good on the studio program. And I say thank you so much for producing these marvelous fantastic outfit that we are putting on again tonight. I wish I can stand up. Is a full outfit. So it comes with the trouser length. I'm going to be showing that later on. But if you like to have this kind of outfit, a bespoke tailoring, ashwebi, custom made, owambe, kiddies wear, fashion training, you might want to get this number and reach out to them on WhatsApp 081-385-28588. The number again is 081-385-28588. You can get everything you need from there. You can have it in a short length, a long length. You saw the one I put on Sunday when I went to the Prime Minister residence as well. So again, Omita Culture, I'm going to be posting the link. You can check them out. It doesn't matter wherever you are around the world. They can get it delivered to you very fast, very quick. Thank you so much, Rahim Abbas. Bring the comment coming. And now let's come back to the real conversation. I'll be telling you more about Omita Culture later on, but the link is already out in the for you that might want to follow up and see what kind of outfit that you want to put on so that it is not the same one that everyone is putting on out there. It is coming up to 19 minutes past 6 p.m. rather. We'd probably say 1800 hours because we use the 24 hours. Mr. Peter Oluwafunoya say, Baba, I cherish your outfit to make you South Korea it to me, sir. Well, I've given you the details. You can check out the link on the Omita Culture. Reach out to them. They can get it to you in South Korea. And I'm sure the people in South Korea, the indigenous people there will love it as the Yoruba people love their outfit. Good evening to our grandmother, our mothers, Mrs. Elizabeth Adesonya, Muneni Oseni, Mrs. Buki, good evening to you. Keep it going. And now, we're going to listen to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria spoke 17 hours ago. This is where we're going to kickstart. And then later on, I would then start summarizing it bit by bit. Let's listen to him.
The General Assembly will now hear an address by His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I request protocol to escort His Excellency. On behalf of the General Assembly, I have the honor of welcoming His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I invite him to take the floor.
Mr. President, Head of State and Government, Secretary General, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the people of Nigeria, I congratulate you on your well-deserved election as the President of this session of the United Nations General Assembly. We commend your predecessor, His Excellency Chaba Orochi, for his able stewardship of the Assembly also. We also commend His Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, for his work seeking to forge solutions to humanity's common challenges. This is my first address before the General Assembly. Permit me to say a few words on behalf of Nigeria, my country, on behalf of Africa, my continent, regarding this year's theme. Many proclamations have been made, yet our troubles remain close at hand. Failures in good governance have hindered Africa, but broken promises, unfair treatment, and outright exploitation from abroad have also exerted a heavy toll on our ability to progress. Given this long history, if this year's theme is to mean anything at all, it must mean something special and particular to Africa. In the aftermath of the Second World War, nations gathered in an attempt to rebuild their war-torn societies. A new global system was born. And this great body, the United Nations, was established as a symbol and protector of the aspiration and the finest ideas of humankind. Nations saw that it was in their own interest to help others exceed the rubbles and wasteland of war. Reliable and significant assistance allowed countries emaciated by war to grow into a strong and productive society. The period was a high watermark for trust in global institutions and the belief that humanity had learned the necessary lessons to move forward in global solidarity and harmony. Today, for several decades, Africa has been asking for the same level of political commitment and devotion of resource that described the Marshall Plan. We realize that underlying conditions and causes of economic challenges facing today's Africa are significantly different from those of post-war Europe. We are not asking for identical programs and actions. What we seek is an equal, firm commitment to partnership. We seek enhanced international cooperation with African nations to achieve the 2030 Agenda and Sustainable Development Goals. There are 5 points I want to highlight. First, if this year's theme is to have any importance at all and any impact, global institutions, other nations, and their private sector actors must see Africa as a development priority, not just for Africa, but in the interest of us all as well. Due to both long-standing internal and external factors, Nigeria's and Africa's economic structures have been skewed to impede development, industrial expansion, job creation, and the equitable distribution of wealth. If Nigeria is to fulfill its duty to its people, I know, and the rest of Africa, we must create jobs and the belief in a better future for our people. We are pushing for that. We must also lead by example, and we are doing so, to foster economic growth and investors' confidence in Nigeria and remove the costly and corrupt fuel subsidy while also discarding a nauseous exchange rate system in my first few days in office. Other growth and job-oriented firms are in the wings. I'm mindful of the present hardship that reform can cause. However, it is necessary to go through this phase in order to establish a foundation for durable growth and investment to build the economy our people deserve. We welcome partnership with those who not mind seeing Nigeria and Africa as larger roles in the global community. The question is not whether Nigeria is open for business. The question is how much of the world is truly open to doing business with Nigeria, and how Africa is an equal, mutually beneficial manner. direct investment in critical industries, opening airports to a wider range and larger quantity of African exports, and meaningful debt relief are important aspects of the cooperation we seek. Second, we must affirm democratic governance as the best guarantor of sovereign will and well-being of the people. Military coups are wrong, as in any titled civilian political arrangement that is will perpetuate injustice. The wave-crossing part of Africa does not demonstrate favorable towards coup. It is a demand for solution to perennial problem. Let us dig it deeper. Regarding Niger, we are negotiating with the military leaders. As chairman of ECOWAS, I seek to help establish democratic governance in a manner that addresses the political economic challenges confronting that nation, including violent extremists who seek to foment instability in our region. I extend a hand of friendship to all of you who may genuinely support this mission for a democratic governance in that nation. This brings me to my third crucial point. Our entire region is locked in protracted battle against violent extremists. In the turmoil, a dark channel of inhuman commerce has formed. Along the route, everything is for sale. Men, women, and children are seen as chattel. Yet, thousands reach the Sahara, hot and sand, and the Mediterranean cold depths in search of a better life. At the same time, mercenaries and extremists with their lethal weapons and vile ideologies invade our region from the north. This harmful traffic undermines the peace and stability of the entire region. African nation will improve our economics so that our people do not risk their lives to sweep the floors and streets of other nations. We also shall devote ourselves to disbanding extremist groups on our tour. Yet, to fully contain this threat, the international community must strengthen its commitment to arrest the flow of armed and violent people into West Africa. The fourth important aspect of this global trust and solidarity is to secure the continent's mineral-rich areas from plundering and conflict. Many such areas have become catacombs of misery and exploitation. The Democratic Republic of Congo has suffered this for decades. Despite the strong UN presence there, what happened? The world economy owes the Republic of Congo much, but gives very little. The mayhem visited on resource-rich areas does not respect national boundaries. Sudan, Mali, Burkina Faso, Central African Republic, and the list go on and on and on. The problem also knocks at Nigeria's door. Foreign entities abated by local criminals who aspire to be petty warlords have drafted thousands of people into servitude to illegally mine gold and other resources. Billions of dollars meant to improve the nation's economy now fuel violent enterprises. If left unchecked, they will threaten peace and place national security at a great danger. Given the extent of this injustice and the high scales involved, many Africans are asking whether the phenomenon is by accident or by design. Members' nations must reply by working with us to deter their farms and nationals from the 21st century pillage of continental riches. Fifth, climate change severely impacts Nigeria and Africa. Northern Nigeria is honored by desert encroachment, handed from the north. All our arable lands. Our south is pounded by the rising tide of coastal flooding and erosion. In the middle, the rainy season brings flood that kill and displace multitudes. As I lament death at home, I also lament the grave loss of life in Morocco and Libya. The Nigerian people are with you. Please note that. African nations will fight climate change, but must do so on fair and just terms. To achieve the need popular consensus, this campaign must accord with overall economic efforts. In Nigeria, we shall build political consensus by highlighting remedial actions which also promote economic growth. Projects such as Green Wall to stop desert encroachment, halting the destruction of our forests by mass production and distribution of gas burning stoves, and providing employment in local water management and irrigation projects are examples of efforts that equally advance both economic and climate change objectives. Continental efforts regarding climate change will register important victories if established economies were more forthcoming with public and private sector investment for African preferred initiatives. Again, this will go far in demonstrating that global solidarity is real and working. As I'm about to close, let me emphasize Nigeria's objective accord with the guiding principles of this world body: peace, security, human rights, and development. In fundamental ways, nature has been kind to Africa, given abundant land, resources, and creative and industrious people. Yet, man has too often been unkind to fellow man, and this sad tendency has brought sustained hardship to Africa's doorstep. To keep faith with the tenets of this world today's body and the theme of this year's assembly, the poverty of nations must end. The pillage of one nation's resources by overreach of farms and people of stronger nations must end. The will of the people must be respected. This beautiful, generous, and forgiving planet must be protected. As for Africa, we seek to be neither appendage nor patron. We do not wish to replace old shackles with new ones. Instead, we hope to walk the rich African soil and live under the magnificent African sky, free of the wrongs of the past and clear of the associated encumbrances. We desire a beautiful, prosperous, vibrant, democratic living space for our people. We will do it. To the rest of the world, I say, work with us as true friends and partners. Africa is not a problem to be avoided, nor is it to be pitied. Africa is nothing less than the key to the world's future. I thank you for listening.
Wow. Quite a lot there in 19 minutes. He spoke for less than 20 minutes. That was just under 19 minutes and some few seconds. I've taken a few notes, but first let me take you back again to the development that is going on right now, right in New York. As we say, the president actually talked about the right. He talked about the will of the people must be respected. So I hope President Bola TINUBU will respect the will of the Yoruba people and the Biafra, as they would love to exit what is known as Nigeria today. So let us take you straight to New York and listen to the ongoing, rally against, the injustice taking place in Nigeria. Let's listen to this for a while.
We have a vision for us to go our own way. We want to go back to federalism, where every nation, every creed, every tribe control their own way, their own development, their own army, and their own economy. We are asking all the well-meaning Yoruba citizens, it is now 100 days that you have a new government. Is your life better now than 100 days ago? Obviously not. Will your life be better? No. We had a word, somebody said, just keep absorbing the pain. Can we call back those that have been dead? Can we revive them? The answer is no. And a lot of people have lost their livelihood. People are jumping into lake now because they are frustrated. There's no way out. We are telling the current president that he was not a kid in 1954 to 1960. He saw already development happening in that country.
Well, let's come back again into the studio. That is okay.
The person that has been refused to be bribed, he has been refused to be corrupted. He has been steadfast in everything they have thrown out. His property, personal wealth has been destroyed. Yet he refused to cave in. We're now calling on all those that do not believe that this mission is achievable. We're telling you today, it's achievable. Singapore was taken over by 6 people. The independence of Singapore was done by 6 people. If only 10 people, 15 people, 3 people that believe in the cause, this is achievable. What we want is that we want every person in Yoruba nation now to check themselves. If your life is better off, stay where you are. But surely, we know by facts, your life is not better off. It is time to go with Yoruba nation. Yes. It is time to go with Yoruba nation. Yes. It is time to go with Yoruba nation. Yes. Now we're also using this medium to talk to all the leaders of the world, from the most leader, President Biden, to British Prime Minister, to German Chancellor, to understand what we are saying, that the pain and suffering is too much in Nigerian land. We have the wealth, but some people are squandering it. And yet you are allowing them to bring all the stolen wealth to these developed countries to thrive individually. Some of them are enjoying private play, and yet people cannot feed 3 days three times a day.
All right.
Some people are completely.
We're gonna come out of that, for now. I'm gonna come back out again. Later on, I'll be taking you again to New York. That is New York, at the United Nations General Assembly outside, where the Yorubas are currently, putting out what we call a fantastic outing, as we've done every year, since the last, 3 years of the campaign to the right to self-determination. I'm going to be telling you more about that. But for now, let's review part of what, President Bola TINUBU said. And again, let me quickly give you the summary for those of you that probably would like to hear. This is how the United Nations has posted that on the website. And please, again, as we say, this is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Every Wednesday, this is what we do. We'll bring it to you as it's breaking around the world. If you join me for the first time, I'd like to welcome you once again, as we say.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
Shout out to those of you that are watching us on all the platforms. Good evening once again to Comrade Plan B. Those of you, Comrade Plan B said Tinubu don't smoke. What has he smoked already? Maybe you want to tell me. A lot of comment is coming through. They're coming very fast. Good evening once again to my beautiful mother, Mrs. Omoto Sholawumi. Good evening to you and the rest of you that have joined us. Keep the comment coming, and I'll be picking your comment at random. The first thing I would like to go back again and read a bit of the summary. President Bola TINUBU, the president of Nigeria, said that while failures in good governance have hindered Africa broken promises, the question is, can he change that good governance? Can Bola TINUBU bring a good governance in place and save Nigeria from breaking away and save Nigeria from disintegrating rather? Do you think that the statement from Bola TINUBU, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, can make any changes? Do you think that that statement will bring any kind of, peace to the Biafrans that are asking for the right to self-determination? Do you think that those that are asking for restructuring, the Afenifere, the Ohanize, or do you think that the northern part of Nigeria is pleased because we know that the country was quite destroyed, not just by the north, but by the southwest, the middle belt, and the southeast? Good governance have never taken place in Nigeria for the last 63 years. Do you think that this government, at the first outing of President Bola TINUBU, do you think that it's going to make any changes? Mrs. Elizabeth said, did Bola TINUBU talk about self-determination on his speech? No, he never talked about that, but he talked about the will of the people must be respected. So that means that Bola TINUBU's government must respect the Yoruba people and the rest of Nigerians that wants to be away from Nigeria. Whether that is going to happen, we will find out as time goes, because as he has spoken right now at the World Forum, the understanding is that whatever he has said, he must also respect that as well. He talked about good governance. Do you think that Nigeria can have good governance? He also went to say that the reason why Africa has become a broken promises, unfair treatment, and outright exploitation from abroad. Who is he referring to? Is he referring to America? Is he referring to the UK that have allowed stolen wealth to travel into this continent? Do you think that he's talking to Switzerland, where stolen wealth was deposited by the former president, or the military rather, the military dictator, late Sani Abacha, stole about $5 billion? Is he talking to someone? Or is he blaming the African leaders for allowing such wealth to have lived the offshore of Africa? He went further to say, heavy toll on our ability to progress. Do you think that Nigeria can progress? And is it going to progress only for the next 4 years of this government? And then we might have another government and everything is thrown into the tata. Netek Electrical, good evening, says, Mr. President don't know what he's saying. This man said it is time to go with the Yoruba nation. On your screen there, those of you that are watching us on the sister broadcast, is the Yoruba Nation rally that is taking place in New York. We are still reviewing what the president said 17 hours ago at the United Nations General Assembly. My name is OLAMILEKAN. This is Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. As an African, do you think that Bola Tinubu will be able to push Nigeria to where it should be? He talked about the Niger. Due to both long-standing internal and external factors. What is the external factors and what is the internal factors? The economy and the structures of Nigeria and Africa has been skewed into impeded development, industrial expansion, job creation, unequitable distribution of wealth. Do you agree with him? Shout out to those of you in Ekiti State, in Akure. Shout out to those of you in Kaduna, in Lokoja, in Plateau, in Zamfara, in Bauchi. And I think the election tribunal has thrown more data into Kano State, because from the news coming before I came on air, it seems that the election has now favored APC in Kano State. Many Nigerians are reacting to the outcome of the president. Let me tell you what the reactions are. Some of the, what Brother Tinubu said yesterday. We do not seek to replace the old shackles with the new ones. What does it mean by the old shackles and what does it mean by the new ones? Who are the old shackles and who are the new ones? And what is the meaning of the word shackle? When you say shackle, when something is locked, you are locked in a chain. Do you think that Nigeria is presently locked in a shackle? And then we must work with the new shackle so that we can move Nigeria forward. For those of you that believe in Nigeria, I am not one of that. When you talk about shackle, what does the meaning of shackle? What does it mean? I'm sure most of you remember the slave trade. So when we talk about the word shackle is a pair of fetters connected together by a chain used to fasten a prisoner. Do you think that Nigeria is currently in prison, or do you think that Nigerians rather are in prison? What is your take on that? Do you think that, this government that have spoken yesterday has now brought the kind of hope that you are expecting from the government of Federal Republic of Nigeria? Or do you think that the shackles will not be resolved until the dissolution of Nigeria? Once again, good evening and welcome as we continue to monitor what is going on at the United Nations General Assembly. My name is OLAMILEKAN and I say good evening to you, Amuso Samuel. Shout out to those of you in Scotland, Wales, Greece, Turkey. Shout out to those of you in Libya. Let's come back again and continue to review the summary of the statement. Do you think that there is going to be more internal and external factors that would not allow Nigeria and Africa to grow? Is Bola Tinubu right to try to intervene in the military situation inside Niger? He talked about it, but I'm not too sure whether anything is going to be the outcome of it, because the American government have not called it a coup, and I'm wondering why. Why has the U.S. government failed to call it a coup? It's coming up to just 9 minutes before 1900 hours on the Star Radio UK Niger Voices, as I'm now continuing to review the speech from President Bola Tinubu, the Federal Republic of Nigeria president, at the United Nations General Assembly in New York 17 hours ago. Keep the comment coming, and I'll be picking them up at random. What is your take on that? Do you think that Bola Tinubu spoke very well? Good evening to grandmother, Mrs. Dupe Agbola. Say, keep up the good work going there, darling brother. Babawa Boye, Manyugbe. Not Manyugba. I think I used to call it Manyugba. You now corrected me. You say Manyugbe. A grandfather says, African leaders, and I read, and politicians are full of lies and deceit. Are you saying that President Bola Tinubu is the same thing because he's an African leader and he's also a politician? Are you saying that Bola Tinubu is telling lies and is also part of the deceit? It was one time the governor of Lagos State. Once again, as I continue to monitor what is going on in New York, where the Yorubas are out again with their religion and all the costumes. You went further to say they are out there. They are very eloquently proving to be saying the right. Do you think that Bola Tinubu spoke better than Buhari? Say Baba. This is the first outing of Bola Tinubu, and I think he's been drafted very well. Dennis Dayo Omitugun, my grandfather and a father. I say good evening and welcome to Ibrahim Akanji. Let's go back again and listen to what Baba Boye said. He says most of them are liars. Most of the African leaders and politicians, they go out there, they speak good grammar, they speak good English, but alas, they come back home to do the wrongs to their people with the help of the white. When shall the Africans be out of the bondage? President Bola Tinubu talked about the shackles. You went further to say, truth and righteousness has been the mother in Africa by the wolves claiming to be leaders in Africa. Oluwaseyi Olarewaju say freedom. Kehinde Adeyemi, good evening to you and welcome. Once again, welcome to Alex Mamu. Good evening to you, our mother, Sakinat Omomi. Jima Moses, good evening to you. Baba Boye went to say, Yoruba nation is all we are saying. The time is now. Well done, Star Radio London. Keep the comment coming as I continue to review what the president said yesterday. Renew hope, renew shege is coming from a mother. A mother again, Abosede Rachel says, now today, Lori Iro, Yoruba nation, no going back. Thank you so much for those of you. The weather has been very beautiful, but it's been very downpour in London. What is the weather on your other side of the globe? Once again, I welcome you. Let's go back and do more on the summary of what the president said yesterday. Do you think that this government can provide 50 million jobs? Remember that before Bola Tinubu came, he was actually telling the previous president, Muhammadu Buhari, create jobs, put them in the military. What are they going to eat? Agbado, corn, cassava. Do you think that this government can provide 50 million jobs before his tenure is going to expire? Keep the comment coming. My name is Olamileka. This is Star Radio UK. Blessed_Queen_Esther on Instagram. Shout out to you. Woman Right Entertainment on TikTok. Eniola. Thank you so much, those of you that have joined us once again. My name is Olamileka. Let's go on again and see. If Nigeria, I want you to take note of this place. If Nigeria is to fulfill its duty to its people and the rest of Africa, do you think that the word Nigeria itself is not a crime? Is that not the reason why people are protesting and asking for the right to self-determination? Let's take a snip of what is going on again in New York. But once again, I would like to say this is Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Star Radio UK. In your car, at home,
on your smartphone.
Now let's take you back again to New York and see what is going on there.
Where there's no internet, there is no connection. Technically, and they're not being paid for 3 months. How can we from our children?
Okay, let's go back again to New York and let's see what is going on in New York again. Let's go to New York.
I was there. I think it's 2022, 2021. I nearly fight one of them there. All right, we come back to that. It seems that they are just having a conversation. My question to Nigerians this evening, the President Bola Tinubu spoke yesterday, is saying that if Nigeria is to fulfill its duty to its people and the rest of Africa, I am asking the question, has Nigeria ever fulfilled its duty to you as a Nigerian? I want you to answer the question. Do you think that the president is right to say that if Nigeria is to fulfill its duty to its people and the rest of Africa, it must create jobs, a belief in a better future and led by example? Do you think that Nigeria will be able to create the jobs that you want or provide the enabling environment to set up your businesses? It went further to say, and are we doing so? He stressed, detailing his government removal of a costly, corrupt fuel subsidy and the noxious exchange rate system. How much is the exchange rate today? I think it's about 909.05 to the dollar and 1,200 to the pound. Do you think that Nigeria is fantastically corrupt, as the former Prime Minister David Cameron said? Again, let me ask you the question. If Nigeria is to fulfill its duty to its people, to the Nigerians and the rest of Africa, it must create jobs. Do you think that it can create jobs? Mr. Lawale Alabi says, he is a man with a bad speech. A lot of you are very upset.
Good evening to you, Elijah_Adiola, and welcome to the program. My name is Olami Koiki. This is Niger Voices. As I continue to review the outcome of President Bola Tinubu's first statement at the United Nations General Assembly. Once again, if Nigeria is to fulfill its duty, do you think that Nigeria can fulfill its duty? And how soon do you think that duty can be fulfilled? Many Nigerians today are struggling. The president talked about many of you traveling to the Sahara in search of a better life. Would you rather leave Nigeria to another country, or you will stay in Nigeria and try to work with the current state of situation? If you have the opportunity to travel out and you are told to remain in Nigeria, what is going to be your best option? Would you remain in Nigeria and help the present administration of Bola Tinubu to fix Nigeria? Or would you travel out through the Sahara? Bamidele Aliu says, Lori Ro. Shout out to those of you that have joined us once again. My name is Olami Koiki. Let me now review some of what I wrote down. He spoke for 19 minutes, 23 seconds. He talked about the global institution, job creation. Do you think that this government can create the jobs? Shout out to my producer, Mr. Frank and Mr. Archie. Do you think that we must create jobs for the better future? When is the better future going to happen? Do you think that the better future is going to happen before this renewed change expire in 2027? Once again, the president talked about the economy our people desire. Do you think that the present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will give you the current economy of your dream? Once again, as we continue to monitor the ongoing rally of the Yoruba nation in New York, and I think they're heading towards the embassy, the Nigerian embassy in America. Good evening once again. Waris Yinadu says the Nigerian name itself is corrupt. So that literally means that the president is promoting a corrupt country to the world. Nigeria joined the United Nations on the 7th of October, 1960. Question is, how much of the world is ready to do business in Nigeria? Do you think that the world wants to do business in Nigeria? Our father, Mr. Dennis Dayo Omitogun, says, sweet speech with empty promises. Sweet like potato, sweet like chewing gum, sweet like sweet speeches, just like Buhari did empty speeches for 8 years of wasted economy, security in Tata, Forex, there's no job. So Buhari literally destroyed the country, but he was going to United Nations General Assembly every single year, just as President Bola Tinubu have started his own as well. But our father disagreed with the sweet speeches, with empty promises. Up Oduduwa Republic, up Yoruba Nation now. Yoruba land is the reality and the only solution. Do you think so? Do you agree? Akinlade says they are all the same political liars. Tony Age says, good evening, the Great White Lion. I say good evening to you and welcome to those of you. Keep the comment coming and I'll be picking them up as well. My name is Olami Koiki. Now, let's go back again and read more from what the president said. He talked about military coup are wrongs. Do you think that the military coup in Niger was wrong? Because Bola Tinubu brought in a former military dictator, Buhari rather. Remember that Buhari destroyed a current administration of Shehu Shagari, yet maybe because he has changed or the next level. But we now realize that none of that was true because Buhari literally came to serve his own clans. This man says it can't fulfill because more people are living in poverty and abject poverty. We now have more Nigerians that are living in abject poverty. Even the World Bank says the problem in Niger with the close of the border is going to add 8 million more people in abject poverty. But the president said the military coup is wrong. Do you agree with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that the military coup in Niger, Burkina Faso, and the current one as well in Gabon? Do you agree? that the military coup is wrong. 3 minutes past 1900 hours. My name is Olami Koiki. This is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London as we continue to review the outcome of President Bola Tinubu at the United Nations General Assembly. Let's listen to how he told us about the military coup.
Governance. Second, we must affirm democratic governance as the best guarantor of sovereign will and well-being of the people. Military coups are wrong.
He said military coups are wrong. Mrs. Elizabeth Adeson said, your president is just beating around the bush. Why is he beating around the bush? Why is he not telling Nigerians the truth that this country is not going the direction as expected? Do you think that the president is trying to save the interest of the new shackles against the old shackles? What is your take on all these? Once again, as we continue to monitor what is going on at the United Nations General Assembly, where the Yoruba Nation rally is going on as I speak to you right now. Let's come back again and finish listening to what the president said when it comes to the military coup. Let's listen again.
As in any titled civilian political arrangement that is, will perpetuate injustice.
Do you think that there's already injustice in Nigeria? Mr. Kayode Afolabi said Yoruba Nation is the only way, no going back. Military coups are wrong. This is what President Bola Tinubu said yesterday at the United Nations General Assembly during his presentation. Why is the military coup wrong? If the politicians are not doing the needful, then military takes over and the rest is history. Have you heard the latest from Obasanjo Olusegun? Not the one that he disrespected those Obas. Obasanjo said that the military probably needs to take over so that they can serve the needful to the politicians. Do you agree with him? This is what Obasanjo said. I think Obasanjo is responding back to Bola Ahmed Tinubu that military coup is not in the interest of Africa. But yesterday the headline says, and I quote, Obasanjo blames bad governance for military coups in Africa. Do you agree with him? The former president Olusegun Obasanjo on Tuesday yesterday said the bad governance is at the root of the recent coup d'etat sweeping through some African countries. According to Obasanjo, the practice of democracy without integrity and bad governance. Do you think that Bola Tinubu will be able to pull together the structure, the good governance of democracy and allow the self-determination a referendum? Buhari did not do so. Do you think that Bola Tinubu will speak and listen to those campaigning for the right to self-determination, which is an inalienable right? With the last 2 months, the military are taking over democratically elected government in Gabon and Niger Republic, citing poor leadership and mismanagement of the country's resources. Let's finish listening to what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said.
The crossing part of Africa does not demonstrate favor towards coup. It is a demand for solution to perennial problem.
So what is going to be the solution? Comrade Plan B said Ibadan is a big coup this evening. And you went on to say the president is probably taking some kind of marijuana. Interesting time ahead. The reactions of Nigerians on the outcome of the president's speech. The president said, we do not seek to replace old shackles with the new ones. We desire a beautiful, prosperous, vibrant, democratic living space for our future. Do you think that you can have a better living space in Nigeria? To the rest of the world, I say, work with us as true friends. Do you think that the world are true friends to Africa, or they are just trying to exploit us just as France was exploiting Niger, Gabon, and other parts of Africa? But these are some of the reactions from that particular statement as many Nigerians are reacting. According to these comments on the particular post on the channel's television Facebook page, Adekoya says, political at the same time epical. Yes, indeed. Edward says, that fair woman, there is Amina Mohammed. I can see how she stares at the president with utmost respect AWU administration, admiration. Wow, this one said this is a very beautiful speech. Do you think that the speech was very beautiful? Different Nigerians have different meaning to the speech of the president. What is your take on that? I'll be telling you the reaction on the social media later on. But for now, as we are just about 8 minutes past 1900 hours, let's go back again to the summary of what was discussed yesterday as we continue to monitor the United Nations rally that is taking place at New York. And we are doing so, is stressed, detailing his government removal of a costly, corrupt fuel subsidy. Do you think that removing that subsidy was in the interest of Nigerians? What is your take on that? The president decided to remove what we call the subsidy, but has this really backfired? Or do you think it is not? The president will assure you this.
Once around the rifle, if I want, I need 200. I remember.
So the president talked about the removal of a costly, corrupt fuel subsidy and a noxious exchange rate system. Other growth and job-oriented reforms are in the wings, he added. Again, welcoming partnership with those who do not mind seeing Nigeria and Africa assume larger roles in the global community. Do you think that Nigeria should remain as one entity block or be dissolved as many entities and work with the Western world? He said that the question is not whether his country is open for business, rather he emphasized it is how much the world is truly open to doing business with Nigeria. Do you think that the world is going to do business with Nigeria? Good evening to you all the way from United Arab Emirates. Casey says, let the peace reign. Keep the comment coming and I'll be picking them up at random. Once again, this is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. The president said again during this campaign, let's listen.
Once around the rifle, if I want, I need 200. I remember.
He talked about direct investment in a critical industries, the opening of the port to a wider range and larger quantity of African export, meaningful debt relief, an important aspect of this cooperation. Do you think that Africa can export more when there's no industry? He went further to talk about the military coup in Niger, Gabon. Military coups are wrong as any titled civilian political arrangement that perpetuated injustice. Do you think that without military coups in some African countries, those corrupt politicians have created injustice? We saw the injustice perpetrated by the former president Muhammadu Buhari against Chief Dr. YGBOHO as he was about to be assassinated. That was injustice as Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped. Injustice to the Arewas, injustice to El Zakizaki, injustice to the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Hausas, because the former president could not protect as many Nigerians that were killed by the terrorists, ISIS and ISWAP operating with impunity in Nigeria, that even day before yesterday on Monday, just less than 72 hours ago, we saw, I think on Sunday, we saw the military and the terrorists having meetings in Katsina. This is what the former president Muhammadu Buhari actually protected their own clan, the Fulanis. But military coups are wrong, is what President Bola TINUBU is saying, as is any tilted civilian political arrangement. Do you think that we are in the right direction when it comes to the political terrain in Africa? He went further to say, and I quote, he went on to say that West African region is locked in a protected battle against violent extremists and in the turmoil. Do you think that this government can resolve the issue of extremism and terrorism in Nigeria? What do you think that the new administration can do to stop the kidnappings, the terrorists operating in Nigeria? Do you know that many Nigerians are still being held as I speak to you tonight? Most especially the NYSC coppers that were kidnapped on August the 17th. A dark channel of humane comments has formed. Along the route, everything is for sale. Even men and women and children are seen as chattel. This is coming from Bola TINUBU, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, from the United Nations General Assembly yesterday. At the same time, mercenaries and extremists invaded from the north with leather weapons and veiled ideologies. While African nations will improve their economic and disband extremists on their turf, he called on the international community to strengthen its commitment to arrest the flow of arms and violent people into West Africa. What do you think with the outcome of the speech? Otumba Boye went further to say, with all the past attendance of Nigerian leaders in the United Nations General Assembly, with all their promises, what has been the gains of the Yorubas? Yoruba nation is our interest and goals. Let us go there, Omo Yoruba. Once again, a very good evening and welcome. As many Nigerians continue to face big dilemma. Good evening, Jimoh Moses. Many Nigerians are expecting, and I think we should go again back to New York, where there's a speech going on. Let's pick that signal back again. Let's pick that speech again.
There's a witness for everything. We can support each other when we come outside in a large number. You are black, I'm also black. You are suffering from the racism in your country. So I'm also suffering for the tribalism in my own country. So we have to come outside in a large number. Thank you. You are a youth, we are also a youth. Thank you so much. Combine our effort together. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. I wish we have more time to. We'll be here tomorrow as well. But if you guys are available tomorrow, you also be here. Thank you. You are also welcome. Thank you. You're also welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Africa, wake up! Africa, wake up before it's too late. Africa, wake up! Africa,
that is what is going on right there. Mr. Adeogun Akorede said Yoruba nation is definitely not going back. Keep it coming. And now let's go back to the Niger. President Bola Tinubu says, I am going to restore democratic order in Niger. How is he going to do that? Is it going to be by force or by diplomacy, negotiation? Ademola Adek said the real solution is the Yoruba nation and the regional government is just a palliative. He also went on to say they have no plan or strategy to solve the security problem. And he also went on to say the price will continue to go up. Emperor said Jesus is here to stay. How is everyone doing? Well, we are doing very well. Good evening to those of you that have joined us. And once again, this is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's go back and listen to what many people are saying when it comes to Niger. Do you think that this present administration under the chairman of ECOWAS, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, can restore democratic order in Niger? Let's listen to this.
I just want to leave you with this thought. The revolutionary government in Niger has just increased the price of uranium that it exports on the world market to 200 euros per kilogram. It was previously paying, or rather charging, 80 cents. The French were getting Niger's uranium for 80 cents per kilogram. And the world market price is 200 euro per kilogram, which is what little Macron will have to pay from now on. You see, it pays to stand up for your rights. That's what the people in Niger have done. It remains to be seen if the people in Nigeria will now do the same.
Do you think that the Nigerian will do the same? Do you think that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be able to restore democratic order in Niger? He actually said so yesterday. How is he going to do so? Is it going to be by military intervention? Is he going to do so without a military intervention? Shout out to you, Aziz, all the way in Miami, and shout out to those of you as well in the other side of United States of America. As we continue to monitor what is going on in New York, I say thank you so much to Prophet Ologunoluwa, the Yoruba Nation Mega Rally, the YSDM, the Yoruba World Media, as we continue to say a very great work by pulling together the current rally taking place. Warisi not to say Japa, but never forget home, and keep sending your foreign hard-earned cash into Nigerian bank account at the mercy of the Abokis, location 419 banks. Let us now go back again and review why Bola Tinubu says I will be able to restore democratic order in Niger. In the next 11 minutes, we go straight to what is going on when it comes to self-determination under the leadership of Professor Banji Akintoye. According to the Reuters, President Bola Tinubu said on Tuesday he was seeking to re-establish constitutional order to address the political and economic problems in the neighboring Niger following the July coup and welcome any support for the process. We know that Tinubu is the chairman of the West African Bloc ECOWAS, which has been trying to negotiate with the Niger military junta. Do you think that that coup can bring back the democratic elected Mohamed Bazoum that has been removed? How is Bola Tinubu going to do this? We already have so much problems in Nigeria. Do you think that this is going to be a military invasion of Niger? We know that Mali, Burkina Faso have said any attack on Niger will be an attack on the same bloc. What is your take on all these? There is a lot going on in Africa. And as the Nigerian president spoke yesterday, we've been reviewing everything he said. He also went further before we go out of that particular conversation. He said that Nigerians' door foreign entities are battered by local criminals. Who are these local criminals? Are they the big players? Are they those working in the government, in the state, in the local government? Who are the real local criminals working with the foreign entities? Most of them are not paying their taxes. Most of them are operating illegally. We've seen illegal mining operation in Osun State, in Zamfara State, in Ilorin. Yet, who are these locals? Are they the kings? Who are these? Who actually is selling off? Who is actually selling off Africa? Is this the kings? Or is it just those criminals that are holding us backwards? These are all the questions and reason why some are saying enough is enough. Again, the injustice that continue in Nigeria, everybody knows the injustice, but we keep quiet. The injustice is something that he talked about. Secure the minerals-rich area. Do you think that the present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be able to secure all what we call the mineral resources? Let's listen to this young man that told us something, that there is a problem. And that problem, as the president have highlighted it as well, is not just the foreign entities. It seems that we have the locals, criminals, that are working with the foreign entities. Crude oil continues to be taken away out of Nigeria in large quantity, from Ilaje in Ondo State to Rivers State in the southeast. Yet, who are those perpetrating this crime? Grandma Leah Ajayi says Tinubu needs to focus on his own country problem first before thinking of other country. And Nigeria to save life. Yoruba nation is what we want. Injustice for Tani Olong injustice for Jumoke Oyeleke, injustice for Bamishe, injustice for many Yorubas, as injustice for Mohbad. It's not just about Mohbad. Injustice for the Biafrans, injustice for Nnamdi Kanu, injustice to the Arewas, injustice to all the 350 ethnic indigenous people put together by the British in 1914. This is going to be part of the discussion in the next 7 minutes. He went further to say, he also detailed the severe impact of climate change on his country, stating that African unions will need to fight climate change, but we must do so on fair and just terms. Many of us are struggling with flood. Many of us are struggling as animals are being moved from the north down to the south. Remember that the former president wanted to sell off our water resources, known as Ruga, under also the former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. So he talked about the climate change, stating that African nations will fight the climate change, but we must do so on fair and just terms. Let's listen to this.
When this collapse comes, and it's going to come, we in the UK are going to need to have some serious reflection on mistakes that have been made, and especially our foreign policy in history. And we're going to have to rely on these nations that we've been stealing from for years to deal with us, because we need them. We're not like Russia. We're not self-sufficient. Russia has its own oil, its own food, its own... It doesn't have to import anything. It can survive without the world. We, a tiny little island, do not have that luxury. We need to import. That's why we've stolen so much shit in the history. So what happens, do you think, in the next decade as African countries are rising and getting more powerful, and the Western countries that had them under their heel for so long, like the UK where I live, are on the way down and their economies are collapsing? What help do you think we're going to get from those countries that are becoming more powerful? How do you think that the Africans are going to look towards the English with regards to trade deals and buying their uranium off them if we need to? They're not going to look too kindly, are they? Especially if there's absolutely no apologies whatsoever. And as far as I can tell, this country doesn't apologise for jack shit. And the reason it apologises is because if it apologised for the stuff that it's done, it'd have to start giving back all of the stuff that it's stolen. I've spent hours inside the British Museum. That place is an absolute... It's a treasure trove. It's incredible. And it's nearly all nicked. And we're going to have to, in the UK, in the West, really start looking at our place in the world and really start looking as to whether we really do say we do. I saw somebody earlier saying, you know, this is what the West do. They just play pretend. It's no wonder the West now accept a man being a woman if he just identifies as one, because we in the UK have been identifying as a nation that is on the side of law and order, a nation that values free speech as it's censoring everybody, a nation that values freedom of the press and is a shining light and a beacon for freedom of the press throughout the world, whilst it's literally torturing the best journalists the world has ever seen in its capital. We say we are these things. Our government says them all the time. The diplomats are like that. But it's just all hot air. Nothing we do as a country backs up what these people are saying the country is. Nothing. I love my country, and that's what I want my country to turn into, to be. I think it's the most patriotic thing a person can do. But when I talk about these things, people call me a Putin puppet. They've been propagandized to such a degree. They don't know their allies when they meet them. And we've got some serious apologizing to do in this country. To all of these nations that we have stolen from, to all of these nations whose leaders we've helped assassinate and overthrow, all of these coups that we've done around the world in countries just because we didn't like what they did. So we killed them and we overthrew them and we put in a dictator who created a secret service and was just brutal to the people in that country. We didn't care, as long as we carried on getting the oil. We're meant to be a country that cares about these things. It cares about truth and honesty and justice. This country prides itself on the UK justice system. Well, there's no greater injustice in this world right now than the imprisonment of Julian Assange, and we're the ones doing it in the UK. And to all those people in Africa, rise up. I'm in the West and I'm fighting for you. And I tell you, we really are the people in the country, the people in the UK, the people in this chat in the UK who know the truth. We're on your side. We want our country to be the things that it says it is, and it's clearly not. And I really do wish to see the rise of Africa in my lifetime. I would love to see it. And we're seeing at the moment the rise of Russia and China. I'd love Africa to go with that as well. But this is not good for the West, especially if we carry on.
Wow, you've just been listening to some of those UK citizens that are concerned with Africa. Welcome to the program, Aziz, all the way. Good evening also to as many of you that have joined us. Triple DRS, I hope Woolwich is doing very well tonight. It's quite a little bit windy throughout, and I hope on the other side it's not as windy. You went on further to say that Tinubu is deceiving himself. He can't do anything to Niger. You went on to say also a foolish man. He hasn't solved the problem of his country. He wants to go to someone else to restore what is not his business. They created the terrorists in the first place. Keep the comment coming, and I'll be picking them up as well. We are now going to be going straight into Ilano Omo Odua. On the other screen, you can see there, it is still the United Nations General Assembly where the peaceful rally is taking place, and let's see if we can connect with them again as listen to what is currently being said.
There was the time I traveled to Maryland. I don't know. Everybody must shut up. And I'm saying them, they are so stupid. Even many Nigerians.
All right, so that is the sound. Good evening to you, GMT. He said, together we stay strong. They are ready to fight because of Africa. It's all about the black and the African now. Shout out to those of you on the Twitter space, on Twitter, watching us as well. Good evening, as many of you that are still with us. We now have the last hour into the program, and this is where we talk about the self-determination, what we need to know, and where we are presently. But one thing is,
wọ́n ní pé ènìyàn ṣe jọ lọ́wọ́ ọba wọ́n ní kò lè pọ̀ sí i ọmọ wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́rẹ́ bàbá bá mi ṣe wọ́n ní bí ó sì àwọn ìpè kò lè pọ̀ sí i ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣe wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́rẹ́ o bàbá bá mi ṣe wọ́n ní kò sáyé ló kọ́ wáyé ọmọ ìṣòro ọkọ̀ ọ̀rẹ́
so mo kí gbogbo wa as I say good evening ẹ káalẹ́ níbikíbi tí ẹ bá ti ń gbọ́ wa tí ẹ ti ń wò wá lórí ètò Star Radio UK ní àṣìwà lálẹ́ yìí mo kí ìjáyà mo kí ìyàwó Gbémilékè mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ wa káàkiri níbi tí ẹ bá ti ń gbọ́ wa tí ẹ ti ń wò wá mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá nílé lóko gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ń béèrè pé ìrìn àjò Yorùbá nation níbo ló ń tẹ̀sí níbo ló ń lọ ní wákàtí tí a fi sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀yin tí Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu kó lọ sọ ní United Nations kò mẹ́nubà self-determination àǹfààní gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ bá rò pé bóyá Bọ́lá Tinubu máa lọ síbẹ̀ á lọ sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àwa tí à ń béèrè fún right to self-determination. The president never went there to talk about the self-determination. He went there to speak as a Nigerian president that wants to keep Nigeria for as much as possible. But it is àwa tí a jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá la máa wá rewrite the history. How do we rewrite the history? By being part of the movement, by being part of the discussion, by being part of the groups of people láti Ìjẹ̀bú-Òde lọ sí Èkìtì, lọ sí Adó, lọ sí Oǹdó, lọ sí Àkúrẹ́, lọ sí Ògùn state, lọ sí Ọ̀yọ́, lọ sí Lagos state, títí dé Badagry, títí dé Benin Republic, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, títí dé gbogbo ibi tí ẹ̀ka ọmọ Yorùbá ń bẹ, títí dé Brazil, títí dé West Indies, títí dé gbogbo àgbáyé tí ọmọ Yorùbá ń bẹ, títí dé Malaysia, Thailand, Japan, South Korea. Tí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá bá ń rò pé Bọ́lá Tinubu lọ sí United Nations ó ń bá yín lọ sọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá Nation kò ní jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ o, torí pé gbogbo ohun tí a ti kà látìgbà tí a ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ètò yìí lórí Star Radio UK kò síbì kankan tó fi yé wa pé Bọ́lá Tinubu ń kọ́ ìdí tó ṣe lọ sí United Nations òun ni pé ó ń lọ sọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá Nation. So gbogbo ẹni tó bá ní lọ́kàn pé ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá Nation ni Bọ́lá Tinubu gbé lọ sí United Nations, that is not the case. Shout out to you, Mr. Clement. Mo kí bàbá wa Ògúntádé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò. So kò ní sọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá Nation nítorí pé agenda tó gbé dání lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ nísìn òun ni agenda Nàìjíríà. Àmọ́ lára àwọn nǹkan tó sọ tí a lè sọ pé a lè mú nínú ẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwa tí à ń jà fún ẹ̀tọ́ wa pé a fẹ́ Yorùbá country tiwa. Ó ní we of the people must be respected. Ẹ̀tọ́ ọmọ ènìyàn wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ gbà gbọ́. Ìyẹn lásán ó sọ towards the end of his conversation that the will of the people, so will of the Yoruba people under the leader of Professor Adebanji Akintoye látara àwọn tó ṣe ètò eléyìí tí a wà lórí ẹ̀ nísìn lórí Star Radio UK. Professor Banji Akintoye is the leader of the Yoruba Nation movement. And as we know, Bola Tinubu is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Two different men, two different missions, two different requests. On your left-hand side on the screen, Professor Banji Akintoye wants the Yoruba people to be free from the, problems of Nigeria, while Bola Tinubu wants to keep Nigeria and save it as much as possible. Because that is the manifesto of the APC tí Bola Tinubu fi wọlé. So interface sọ fún yín lálẹ́ yìí tó jẹ́ 20th of September 2023 ni pé Bola Tinubu ò lọ sí United Nations láti lọ gbé problem wa lé wọn lọ́wọ́ pé àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá o tóun jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá láàrin wọn o a fẹ́ lọ a fẹ́ kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà. So bí ẹ bá gbọ́ anything tó jọ bẹ́ẹ̀ irọ́ ni o, kò sí kankan tó jọ bẹ́ẹ̀ o. In tó bá lọ síbẹ̀ òun ni ó lọ ṣe presentation tiẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí pírẹsidẹ́ǹtì Nàìjíríà. So kò síbì kankan nínú statement tá a ti kà tí a gbọ́ sétí tó jẹ́ pé 19 minutes ló fi sọ̀rọ̀, kò síbì kankan tó dárúkọ self-determination. A rántí pé nígbà tí Buhari lọ ó ní kó fún àwọn Palestine ní ẹ̀tọ́ wọn. So àwa mọ ìdí tí Bọ́lá Tinubu ò ṣe sọ eléyìí bóyá torí pé ó jẹ́ àkọ́kọ́ ìjáde ẹ̀ ni kò tí ì ṣe sọ síta. Bóyá ó dìgbà tí àwọn tí wọ́n ń ṣètò Yorùbá Nation bí àdìgbà tó bá lọ bá Bọ́lá Tinubu under the invitation, nítorí pé a ti gbọ́ lẹ́nu bàbá wa Professor Banji Akintoye tí wọ́n jẹ́ kó yé wa pé a máa lọ bá Bọ́lá Tinubu nígbà tí request bá padà lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí wọ́n bá send request pé a fẹ́ wá present reason tọ́mọ Yorùbá gbọ́dọ̀ kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà. Àmọ́ ìjáde tí ìjọba Nàìjíríà lọ sí United Nations kò ní kankan ṣe pẹ̀lú pé Yorùbá fẹ́ dá dúró. Yorùbá máa dá dúró ó fẹ́ lọ, ìyẹn wà lọ́wọ́ àwa, ó wà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀mí, ó wà lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wá ń béèrè pé fẹ́ justice nítorí pé mo rí pé ariwo justice lẹ́ ń pa ní Nàìjíríà. Ǹjẹ́ justice yẹn fún èèyàn kan ni àbí justice fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá? Nítorí pé gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ló wà nínú problem lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ nínú Nàìjíríà. Nípa pé a fẹ́ lọ kò ní kankan ṣe nìkan pẹ̀lú Fúlàní tó ń pa wá, ó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ẹ̀yà wa, ó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú tani wá gangan. Àmọ́ gbogbo eléyìí òun kọ́ ni Tinubu gbé síwájú United Nations General Assembly níbi tí gbogbo àwọn leader lágbàáyé, àwọn Joe Biden, àwọn German Chancellor Macron, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, India Modi, Brazil, Japan, Switzerland, gbogbo ìlú pátá ni wọ́n láǹfààní àti sọ̀rọ̀ títí dé Ukraine Prime Minister. Níjọ́ wo ni ẹ̀yin wá rò pé tí a bá gbéra ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí sọ fún gbogbo àgbáyé pé àwa náà fẹ́ lọ, ǹjẹ́ a máa lè sọ pé ní ọjọ́ ọ̀la, nítorí pé Bọ́lá Tinubu ọdún 4 gbáko péré lórí láti fi ṣèjọba ẹ̀, tó bá ṣe ọdún 4 tán a tún dá padà, ìyẹn tí ó bá wọlé. Tó bá wọlé ó ti di pé ìjọba mi máa wọlé nìyẹn. Tíjọba mi bá wọlé kò tún ní jẹ́ pé Bọ́lá Tinubu ló máa lọ sí United Nations, torí pé Buhari kọ́ ló lọ lọ́dún yìí. Ara títa ṣe sọ fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pé àsìkò tí Bọ́lá Tinubu lò lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí àsìkò tiẹ̀ ní lóòótọ́, àmọ́ ó ní time limit. Ẹ rí pé gbogbo ìdí tí a ṣe ń pariwo pé Bọ́lá Tinubu tẹ̀ ń pariwo yìí, tó bá máa fi di 2027 ìjọba Bọ́lá Tinubu ó máa fìdí hẹ́ tó bá padà wá tó bá dìbò fún ni. Nítorí pé ẹ lè sọ pé tí Nàìjíríà bá continue òun ló máa wọlé after 2027. Ìdí tá a ṣe ń polongo fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń bẹ nílé, èyí tẹ́ ń bẹ ní oko, èyí tí ẹ ń sọ pé ẹ fẹ́ kí Nàìjíríà kó prosper. Lóòótọ́ kò sẹ́ni tí kò fẹ́ kí Nàìjíríà kó prosper, àmọ́ tó bá prosper ǹjẹ́ Bọ́lá Tinubu lè continue pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ lẹ́yìn ìgbà tóun bá ṣe tán? Gbogbo nǹkan tó yẹ kẹ́ ẹ máa rò lọ́kàn. Ìdí tá a ṣe ń sọ pé Yorùbá nation òun nìkan ló lè ṣe. Yorùbá as an independent country a ní ṣe pẹ̀lú working with other African countries, other European countries, and the world is not too big enough to curtail and bring the Yoruba people as well. Do not be deceived. Ẹ má ẹ̀kọ́ parọ́ fún yín pé Nàìjíríà tóbi, ẹ jẹ́ kájọ máa manage ẹ̀ lè manage Nàìjíríà, kò ṣe manage. Gbogbo tí Bọ́lá Tinubu sọ ní United Nations General Assembly irọ́ ló bá níbẹ̀, kò sí nǹkan kan tó máa sọ ju pé wọ́n prepare speech fún ni, ó ka speech yẹn ó ti ṣe tán nísìn, ó ṣe é ṣe kó wà lóòótọ́ kó máa sùn nísìn. Tóun bá gbádùn gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìjọba àtàwọn tó ń bẹ ní agbègbè ẹ̀, ṣé guarantee wà fún ìwọ tó jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá nínú Nàìjíríà? Ariwo justice, injustice àbí justice lẹ́ ń pariwo lẹ́nujọ́ mẹ́ta lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí wọ́n pa àbúrò wa ìyẹn tí wọ́n pè ní Mohbad. Ìbéèrè ni pé kò ń ṣe Mohbad ló kọ́kọ́ pa, kó tó di pé Mohbad kú àìmọye ọmọ Yorùbá ló ti ń kú, kí ló dé tẹ́ ẹ̀ pariwo justice? Ta ni Ọlọ́run wà níbẹ̀ nísìnyí? Kò sẹ́ni kankan tó ń pariwo justice fún, ṣé kò kí ń ṣe ọmọ Yorùbá ni? Àbí gbogbo yín máa ní ẹ̀gbọ́n nípa kéèsì Ta ni Ọlọ́run, ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá tẹ̀ ń jáde nísìn? Ṣé torí pé Mohbad ń kọrin, ṣé torí pé Ta ni Ọlọ́run in tó ń sọ ó yàtọ̀ sí orin? Kí ló dé tó jẹ́ pé apá kan lẹ fẹ́ ẹ̀fẹ́ apá kejì? Àbẹ́ ti gbàgbé gbogbo òkú tó ti kú nínú Nàìjíríà, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ yín ò níṣẹ́, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ yín future yín ó ti wà backward. Ẹ wá ń pariwo justice justice justice. What about justice fún olóyè Dr. Sunday Igboho, arákùnrin tó jáde tán tó sọ pé àwọn tí wọ́n ń pa wá yìí kò lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ kó máa pa wá, ọmọ Yorùbá ni. Àmọ́ kí la ṣe? Gbogbo wa ṣe kí ni? Adákẹ́ àsọ òtítọ́. Nígbà tá a bá wá ń pariwo pé a fẹ́ justice fún Mohbad nìkan, àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tó kù ńkọ́? Ẹ wo gbogbo àwọn tó pa ní Ṣàgámù. We lost about 24 innocent Yoruba people died for cultism. What do we do? How do we engage and stop this menace? Mo gbọ́ tí bàbá wa kan sọ̀rọ̀ nínú program kan tí mo wò lọ́dọ̀ sísítà wa Yorùbáwùyí. Ìyẹn ọba yẹn sọ̀rọ̀ dáadáa. Ọba náà sọ̀rọ̀, wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìdí tí olóyè Dr. Sunday Igboho tó ṣe ń jáde. Àwọn tí wọ́n tún sọ pé Ta ni Ọlọ́run a máa dé mọ́lẹ̀ kò pààyàn, kò sí ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tíyàn bá ṣẹ̀, ó ti di dandan pé wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ gba béèlì. Nígbà tó bá ń gba béèlì àwọn politician, kí ló dé tí wọ́n lè gba béèlì Ta ni Ọlọ́run? Ṣé Yorùbá náà làwọn ilé iṣá? Gbogbo injustice tó ń lọ lójoojúmọ́ kò sẹ́ni kankan tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ sí. Ara tí Ìgbòho fi dìde tó fi fara mọ́ in tí bàbá Akíntóyè gbé dání, òun náà ni pé injustice tó wà yìí a lè continue báyìí. injustice yẹn wá ń lọ tí ìyẹn la ṣe wá ń kégbe tá à ń sọ fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pé ẹ má ẹ ká dákẹ́ torí pé tá bá dákẹ́ tí wọ́n máa bá wa dákẹ́ ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń sọ pé ká ṣe sùúrù fún ìjọba Bọ́lá Tinubu bí ti Buhari náà ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ nìyẹn títí nígbà tí ti Buhari bẹ̀rẹ̀ kí la rí kó ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ ká padà ká lọ gbọ́n tí bàbá wa ọba tí a mọ̀ sí àwọn ọba dáadáa tí wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ nígbà tí wọ́n láǹfààní àti bí wọ́n ní ìbéèrè bíi méjì mẹ́ta ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́ bí interview yẹn ṣe lọ ẹ ṣe gan nìyá wa Yorùbáwùyí àwọn lọ́tún lọ gbé fídíò yìí jáde láti fi ṣe ìrántí fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pé àwọn ọba kan ṣì wà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tọ́jọba tòótọ́ tí wọ́n dúró fún òtítọ́ tí wọ́n kì í ṣe àwọn ọba tí wọ́n lè gbóhùn sókè nítorí ntọ́ máa jẹ àti ntọ́ fẹ́ jẹ ìyẹn ni Ọbásanjọ́ ṣe láǹfààní láti fi ọ̀rọ̀ tó fi sanwó lóko pé ẹ dìde ẹ jókòó ara ìdí ta ṣe ń sọ pé tá a bá fẹ́ kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà a gbọ́dọ̀ tètè nísinsìnyí kó má pẹ́ mọ́ nítorí pé tá a bá ṣe ń pẹ́ sí problem ló ń dá sílẹ̀ ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá tẹ́ wá ń sọ pé ká má tí lọ pé ká ṣe sùúrù nítorí pé ẹ fẹ́ràn Bọ́lá Tinubu kò sẹ́ni tó fẹ́ ìṣubú ẹ̀ ìntàfẹ́ náà ni pé kó ṣe dáadáa àmọ́ kó ṣe dáadáa fún Nàìjíríà tí Nàìjíríà dẹ̀ máa expire torí Nàìjíríà máa expire mọ́ lọ́wọ́ mo fi tẹlẹ́dùmarè mo fi kíyàwó Gbémilékè ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ẹ wá wo injustice tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ fún Tani Olohun gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá wá dákẹ́ ṣé torí pé Tani Olohun kì í ṣe olórin àbí torí pé ó ń sọ àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń dùn yín lọ́kàn tí ẹ fẹ́ jẹ́ ká mọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìran wa nítorí pé gbogbo ẹ̀yà ló ní ẹ̀yà tiwọn in tí Tani Olohun sọ kò tí pọ̀ jù àmọ́ èyí tí ẹ̀ ń sọ pé Tani Olohun ó commit offence wọ́n ti lọ sí kóòtù nísìn ẹ wá fẹ́ lo agbára pé torí pé state tó wà torí pé a mọ̀ pé ìtẹ̀ wà ní Kwara kò ń ṣe gbogbo yín torí àwọn èèyàn dáadáa ń bẹ ní Kwara àmọ́ àwọn súrújàǹbá bẹ́ẹ̀ ọ̀pọ̀ nínú yín àwọn súrújàǹbá àwọn lọ́pọ̀ nínú yín ẹ rí àwọn politician yín Sàràkí nìyẹn gbogbo ìgbà tó fi ṣèjọba àti bàbá ẹ̀ torí pé àwọn ọmọ Mali ni wọ́n wọ̀ kí sọmọ Yorùbá gangan Mali ni wọ́n ti wá sí Ìlọrin wọ́n wá lò yín títí lára ìdí tá a ṣe sọ pé tí a bá kúrò nínú ràtìràtì tá a wà yìí wàhálà ń bọ̀ lọ́jọ́ iwájú ẹ jẹ́ a gbọ́ àwọn ọba iṣẹ́ àwọn ọba lálùbáríkà mo fẹ́ wá orúkọ ọba yẹn dáadáa torí pé àwọn ọba tí a gbọ́dọ̀ máa sọ pé àwọn eléyìí wọ́n ń pe àdúgbò náà ní Alápòmú of Apomu Kingdom to the palace of Alápòmú of Alápòmú Alápòmú. Once again, this is a sponsored program and it's in our own beautiful dialect, Yoruba. Once again, bí a ti ṣe ń dúpẹ́ fún gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ àwọn èèyàn gbòógì ìyẹn bàbá wa ọba Ọlásọdé Ọlálékan Ọlánipẹ̀kun àwọn ọba làwọn eléyìí àwọn ọba tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ sókè àwọn ọba tí wọ́n sọ pé n tí olóyè Ìgbòho ń ṣe ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó n tá à ń sọ fáwọn ọba wa nìyẹn ẹ má jẹ́ kí irú Ọbásanjọ́ kó máa wá disrespect yín irú àwọn bàbá burúkú yẹn once again ìdí tá a ṣe ń sọ fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pé tí a bá tètè kúrò nínú ràtìràtì yẹn wọ́n máa fi dọ̀tí yẹ wálé ẹ jẹ́ sáré gbọ́ ní tí bàbá wa ìyẹn ọba Alápòmú of Apomu Kingdom.
ilé òwú pọ̀ rẹpẹtẹ ìlú Àpòmù láwa o
kábíyèsí o
ìlú ọba kábíyèsí ọba Ọlásọdé Ọlálékan Ọlánipẹ̀kun onífá ọlọ́jà ní kùnkìní
kábíyèsí o
ìlú Àpòmù ní gbogbo ilẹ̀ òwú
ọba ń kí ọ kábíyèsí
You're a landlord already. I get a lot of people on my commercial courses that are residential.
Ọba ń kí ọ kábíyèsí
kábíyèsí bàbá kábíyèsí o ẹ ṣeun kábíyèsí èmi mọ̀ yín ṣùgbọ́n àwọn ènìyàn tó wọ̀ wá lé wọn ò mọ̀ yín níwọ̀n bàbá mi náà ṣe mọ̀ yín ni mo sọ kábíyèsí ẹ jẹ́ ká mọ̀ yín délédélé.
mo kọ́kọ́ tọ́lọ́wọ́n bá tó lọ́sọ̀ lọ́wọ́ yìí tó ṣe ṣe fún wa.
àwọn náà kí ẹ bá wa kọ́ ba.
wọ́n wá láti wá mọ̀ wá láti wá mọ̀ nígbà pẹ̀lú.
òkè wọn káàbọ̀ sí ìlú àpò. Èmi bẹ́ẹ̀ wo mi jẹ́ ọmọ yìí.
Bàbá wa ní ọmọ tẹ̀.
Bàbá wa lẹ́jẹ́ kò sọ ọmọ ní ìjọba bàbá wa kábíyèsí o.
Ọba ń sọ lágbóhùn jẹ́ ọba Ọlásọdé Ọlálẹ́kan Ọláolùpẹ̀kun onífà ọlọ́jà nìkún wà alákòwé ti ìlú àpò àkọ́kọ́ nílùú àpò tí ó ṣe ìlú Ògùn ibi tí àwọn baba ńlá baba wa fẹ̀dọ̀ sí. Mo jẹ́ ọmọ.
My friend came to my house. He insisted on taking my razor away. He said he had never seen such.
Mo jẹ́ ọmọ bíbí bàbá mi tó ti dolóògbé Israel Àrẹ̀mú Adébólú Ọlásọdé Ọláolùpẹ̀kun tó jáde láti tún ẹ̀jẹ̀ mu ní ìlú Àpòmù ìbí àti ní ìlú Òkè Àgbòòrò níbi tí wọ́n pè ní Àgọ́ Àpòmù tí àwọn baba ńlá wa kọ́kọ́ dé sí kan tó di kí wọ́n wá tẹ̀lé sí ìlú Àpòmù. Ìyá tó bí mi jẹ́ ọmọ Iléṣà tó jẹ́ ọmọ Ọ̀dọ́lé ní Iléṣà Ọ̀dọ́lé ọba ńlá ní Iléṣà ní ìyá tó bí mi lórúkọ ẹ̀ jẹ́ Àyọkù síbẹ̀ Fárìntàn Ọ̀dọ́lé ní Iléṣà.
Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìgbà tá a wà lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ lórílẹ̀-èdè kábíyèsí
aláwé.
Mo mọ̀ wípé nílùú yìí a ti rí àwọn ẹ̀yà kan tí wọn kì í ṣe akọ́kọ́ máa kó. Wọ́n wà nílùú yìí dáadáa. A ti rí àwọn tó yẹ pé bóyá wọ́n ń ṣiṣẹ́ wọn, àwọn tó ń kiri ọjà, àwọn tó nílé ìtajà. Nǹkan kan tó gbòde kan lórílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà báyìí ní ti àwọn darandaran. Ṣé wọn dàgí láàmú nílùú Àpòmù kábíyèsí?
A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run ọba pé a ní àwọn darandaran tí wọ́n ń da ẹran nílùú Àpòmù. Ṣùgbọ́n àjọsọ ọ̀rọ̀ ó yéra wa. A mọ̀ wọ́n nígbà kan dé wọ́n ti dé káwọn.
Kábíyèsí yẹn bá wọn ní o wọ́n ti dé sílùú Àpòmù tẹ́lẹ̀ o.
A bá pè wọ́n. Èyí la mọ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ gbọ́n tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ káàkiri ní gbogbo àgbègbè. Kò ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́dọ̀ wa o. Àwọn náà dẹ̀ bá sọ̀rọ̀ pé àwọn làwọn mọ̀ o. Ṣùgbọ́n táwọn bá ti kófìn bí àwọn àjòjì tí ò ṣe ara àwọn àjẹkádé ti gbọ́ o. Kọ́mádé ti sọ fún wa, à sọ fún wọn pé a fẹ́ rí àjòjì yẹn. Ṣùgbọ́n tá a bá wá rí táwọn àjòjì yẹn bá ti ń lọ ọjọ́ kan ọjọ́ kejì ní ohun tí a jọ sọ pẹ̀lú àwọn tí a mọ̀ yẹn pé ẹ̀yin náà máa tẹ̀lé wọn kúrò tó wọ́n bá wà ọmọláyè láti wá wọ àárín àwọn. Ṣùgbọ́n tọ́rọ̀ bá ṣẹlẹ̀ pé torí pé gbà míì wọ́n máa ń da ẹran wọn tó lè ṣe àwọn kankan fún àwọn aráàlú. Ìgbésẹ̀ ti wà pé tẹ bá rí tí wọ́n bá ṣe kankan fún yín ẹ wá sí ọ̀dọ̀ Alápòmù. Tẹ bá ti ṣàlàyé àá pè wọ́n a dẹ̀ máa sọ nítùbí ìnùbí tí ò ní sí wàhálà kankan.
Gẹ́gẹ́ bí a ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ kábíyèsí ẹ ní àjọṣe tó gún mọ́ ó wà láàrin ìlú Àpòmù àti àwọn Fúlàní tí ẹ bá ń bẹ̀ ẹ sì jẹ́ kó yé wọn pé tuntun o.
Mo tún kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá interview tí wọ́n grant mo mọ̀ gbà tí wọ́n grant interview yìí lọ́dọ̀ sísítà wa Yorùbáwuyì ni a ti ń píkì interview yẹn èmi náà ti gbọ́ mo wá fẹ́ kẹ́yìn náà kẹ́ farabalẹ̀ kájọ máa gbọ́ picture bàbá wa ọba náà ni ẹ̀ ń wò lẹ́yìn yẹn mo mà kí ìyá wa dáadáa ẹ má bínú pé ẹ jáde tí a tẹ̀lé yín lánàá torí pé miscommunication wà ìyẹn màmá wa Alhaja Airat ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ẹni Yorùbá nation no going back it is a called ìlú Alápò ní Ọ̀ṣun state okay it is called ìlú Alápò okay wọ́n ní Ọ̀ṣun state ni àná àwọn ọba tó yẹ pé wọ́n sì wà ní àyíká wà lórí ìtẹ́ tí wọ́n ń ṣe ntí ó máa dùn mọ́ wá nú mo kí ìyá wa Kristi ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ wa ẹ yẹ ká máa gbọ́ ọba náà lọ torí pé wọ́n sọ àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ kan àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ tó máa jẹ́ pé mo kí bàbá wa GMT wọ́n ní with security the game will change India and Pakistan it is too early wọ́n ní maybe it is too early bóyá fún ti bàbá wa Bọ́lá Tinubu lẹ́sọ̀ yẹn ẹ ṣé gan ni keep the comment coming ẹ jẹ́ ká padà sí voice tá à ń gbọ́ yẹn lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí àsìkò tí a wà yìí ní every Wednesday from 7:30 títí di almost 8:15 ìyẹn ni ti Yorùbá Nation campaign a máa sọ nípa àwọn ti Biafra náà díẹ̀ mo kí Waris Jinadu ní if the youth can come out and pump such energy into 24/7 rally and protest for better living conditions and Yoruba liberation and Yoruba souls taken by the location 419 security ? ẹ jẹ́ ká padà síbi tí interview yẹn tá ń lọ picture bàbá wa náà òun lẹ̀ ń wò ní ẹ̀yìn mi èyí tí ẹ̀ ń wò wá ní orí screen ẹ rí i pé ní on the left hand side rally ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ìyẹn ní New York a kí gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ti jáde níbẹ̀ mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ wà káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé ẹ jẹ́ ká padà ká máa tẹ̀ sí interview yẹn lọ.
àwọn Fúlàní tí kábíyèsí yẹn bá ń bẹ̀ ni ò kì í ṣe tí àwọn aráàlú àpòmù bá ń bẹ̀ o ẹ má ṣọba gbọ́ o.
mo kí àwọn Biafra tó wà pẹ̀lú wa I will explain what is going on but for now it is still the Yoruba language but later on I will do a summary and I'll be talking about the latest update from the government in exile of the Biafra at just about a few minutes past 8.
ẹni gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọba aládé kí ni èrò
ẹ fìdílé nǹkan ẹ jẹ́ àgbọ́.
wọ́n ní ìṣòwò bàbá àràbá jẹ́ ní bàbá ibì kan la ti ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ ibì kan la ń lọ ibì kan la máa parí ẹ̀sìn. káwọn òyìnbó tó dé àwọn àlọ́tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ìmọ̀ọ́gbà táwọn òyìnbó sọ wá papọ̀ pé àfikájọ ojú papọ̀ àwọn bàbá wa tún jà pé ká dúró lọ́tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ìyẹn ní western region eastern region and northern region kó tó wá di pé wọ́n so wá papọ̀. àwọn ìlú míì náà wà bẹ́ẹ̀ tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n so wọ́n papọ̀ ni ṣùgbọ́n bí a ṣe ń dàgbà sí bá a ṣe wà tẹ́lẹ̀ lánàá kọ́ la ṣe wà bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ́yìn. Yorùbá nation afẹ́ lọ àfi ká jókòó àpérò torí ká tó papọ̀ náà ìjókòó àpérò náà wà ní ìjókòó àpérò tó jẹ́ ìjókòó àpérò tòótọ́ tí gbogbo ẹ̀yà kọ̀ọ̀kan tó máa ní aṣojú tó máa lọ sọ ti ẹnu ẹ̀ níbẹ̀ torí tẹ́ bá wò ẹ̀yà tiwa Yorùbá ó yàtọ̀ sí ẹ̀yà Haúsá èdè wa yàtọ̀ sí
àìjọra wa
ẹ̀yà tiwa náà ó yàtọ̀ sí Ìgbò èdè wọn yàtọ̀ sí wọn nínú Yorùbá a tún láwọn ẹ̀yà bẹ́ẹ̀ nínú Haúsá a ní àwọn ẹ̀yà nínú Ìgbò a ní àwọn ẹ̀yà bó ṣe jẹ́ pé a kì í kó ọmọ ẹ̀dìyẹ ọmọ ẹyẹlé ọmọ pẹ́pẹ́yẹ papọ̀ tá a bá máa wá kó wọn papọ̀ ẹni máa kó wọn papọ̀ yẹn á ti mọ ohun tí oníkálùkù wọn fẹ́ níbi tó kó wọn sí láti fi ṣe kíni láti fi pẹ̀tù sí wọn. Àfijókòó àpérò tòótọ́ tí a lè ṣe ká lè mọ̀ bóyá ó sì ṣeé ṣe kájọ máa ṣe papọ̀ àbí kò ṣeé ṣe kájọ máa ṣe papọ̀ tábà tẹ̀ wá fijọ́ ṣe papọ̀ yẹn kí ni nǹkan tí a máa ṣe tí ìfẹ́ yẹn fi máa jọba. Ok lọ́dọ̀ tí èèyàn 10 lẹ kó síbí o èèyàn 3 ló wà lọ́dọ̀ tèmi ok jẹ́ kájọ sọ di 10 so kò ní í dàgbẹ́ ní pé ẹnìkan gbà ẹnìkan lọ lápá bíbá yìí o èèyàn 2 ló wà bíbá yìí o ṣùgbọ́n ẹ wo kankan nísìn àwọn ọmọ wa tá a bá ṣe ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ọ̀fẹ́ wọlé ẹ̀kọ́ gíga èsì ìdánwò tí wọ́n fi mú àwọn kan ó yàtọ̀ sí àwọn kan
orí bẹ́ẹ̀
tí ò lè yẹ kó orí bẹ́ẹ̀ àwọn nǹkan kan wà tó ń dùn àwọn ẹ̀yà kan lọ́kàn ẹ jẹ́ kí wọ́n sọ síta kájọ ṣe àṣàrò ẹ̀ ìyẹn ni a fi máa mọ̀ bóyá lóòótọ́ àwọn ẹ̀yà kan wọn ò rí ẹ̀tọ́ wọn gbà àbí wọ́n rí gbà tọ́ọ̀ bá rí ẹ̀tọ́ wọn gbà wọ́n á dúró tọ́ọ̀ bá rí gbà wọ́n á lọ.
Okay, just to briefly explain fanfani àwọn tó jẹ́ Africans tó ń gbọ́ wa àtàwọn ẹ̀yà míì this is one of our obas, our royal father saying exactly what the Yoruba people have been saying, that, the Nigeria today is not working, and if it's not going to work, we must come back onto the round table, just like there was a round table discussion in 1957, 1958, before what is known as Nigeria today. He also went further to remind us that we should all remember that most of the time, when Nigerians partake in the jam, the northern part of Nigeria, because he doesn't want to mention it, I can mention it. The northern part of Nigeria will go into University of Lagos with the lowest mark, while somebody in the southeast, southwest, or middle belt have the same better result, but because they are not getting enough cutoff mark, they probably end up going to school in the north. And all this cannot continue. So he's been interviewed. This interview, I don't know when the interview actually took place, but I picked it up from one of our media, and I decided it tonight. So this is what is actually being said for the benefit of our African leaders, African listeners, whether in South Africa, in Kenya, because I know a lot of you in Ghana, and I know a lot of you are following us around the world as well. So, but again, I will explain much further. So let's go back, because he's still going to talk about Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho. Was he right to stand up for the Yoruba people? When people of different Yoruba say our mouth doesn't work together, the king said something. Don't stand up from your seat. This is still the Star Radio UK, finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. This program comes up every Wednesday, and this program has been going on now for almost 6 years. And we give thanks to those of you that have stood with us, day and night, listening to us, and as many of you that have joined us after we started Yoruba Nation just about 3 years ago. This program itself is 3 years more than Yoruba Nation, but we are grateful to every one of you. I know some of you have said we should change the name from Naija Voices, but this was the name that we thought about, some 6 years ago between myself and my producer, to highlight the problems of Nigerians, to highlight the problems of the diaspora, and that's exactly what we've been doing. Let's go back again to listen more to that particular interview.
Yorùbá bọ̀ wọ́n ní ẹ̀ka tó bá tọ́ sínú la fi ń ronú. Mo kí yín nílùú Àpòmù. Bẹ́ẹ̀ yé yín Àpòmù. Ọ̀sẹ̀ ọba gidi náà yàn. Torí pé ọ̀rọ̀ mi yé kábíyèsí, ọ̀rọ̀ kábíyèsí yé èmi náà. Ibi tá a fẹ́ kí wọ́n lọ. Ìbéèrè bíi mẹ́ta tí mo ní bí kábíyèsí ti kọ́. Is a smart kábíyèsí. Ìyẹn fi mọ̀ wípé atọ́lóyè ẹni tá a fi ṣe ọba wa. Ó wá jẹ́ kí n lọ sórí ìbéèrè eléyìí. Gbogbo àwa Yorùbá náà wá kó ẹnu wa o. Ẹnu wa kò. Ẹnu wa o. Àwọn ọmọ àlè àárín wa lórí wọn. Kí ló dé tẹnu wa ò fi kò ná kábíyèsí ẹ̀yin gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọba aládé? Ẹnu wa ò kò. A kàn ń pariwo Yorùbá Nation. A fẹ́ lọ.
Drinking warm water before bed helps men get wood on command. Thousands of men are suddenly rejected.
Fẹ́ lọ Yorùbá fẹ́ dá dúró. Ṣùgbọ́n tá a bá gbọ́ lẹ́nìí tí gbogbo apariwo pé Yorùbá ń lọ ní Yorùbá ń lọ ní gbogbo bá tún máa dọ̀la. Àwọn ọmọ àyà Yorùbá náà wá tún níbo ẹ ti ẹ ń lọ sí ẹ ń lọ ṣe kí ló dé tẹnu wò kò náà. Ṣé ègún kan ni àbí ìkọ̀kọ̀ ló ń bá wa jà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tá àti ìfojú rí? Àwọn ọmọ àyà wa ti dàgbà ní.
Gẹ́gẹ́ bí òye ti ní
ẹnu wa kò.
Ẹnu wa kò.
Kábíyèsí ló bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí.
Ẹnu wa kò dáadáa. Ṣé rí àwọn àgbààgbà tó tún jẹ́ àgbà sáwà bíi bàbá mi kábíyèsí ọba tó ń kọba jẹ Ọọ̀ni of Ifẹ̀ kábíyèsí àtàwọn ọba wa wọ́n ń ṣe ìpàdé ṣùgbọ́n èèyàn kì í sáré bẹ̀rẹ̀ ogun ibi tí àwọn bàbá wa ń lọ abẹ́ ewé ló wà.
Abẹ́ ewé ló wà kọ́lẹ̀ pàwá tún.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni abẹ́ ewé ló wà. Wọ́n ṣe ní wọ́n máa pariwo ẹ̀yin kan náà wọ́n á tún máa pariwo ṣùgbọ́n ṣọ̀kan wà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ibi tí Yorùbá ń lọ Yorùbá mọ̀ ọ́. Ṣùgbọ́n tó bá tásìkò àwọn bàbá tó yẹ kó sọ̀rọ̀ wọn á níbi báyìí la fẹ́ gbà. Ṣùgbọ́n a ṣe ń roko ẹ̀gbẹ̀gbẹ̀ etílé ni. Ẹ jẹ́ ká fi àṣẹ yẹn ká fi sí ọwọ́ àwọn bàbá lókè. Ká má rí wọn pé wọ́n wọlé wọn lọ gbowó ni wọ́n ṣe kinní kan ní ká má rí wọn bẹ́ẹ̀. Ká fi iṣẹ́ yẹn lé wọn lọ́wọ́ ká máa wá wo wọn ò ní gbé wa lọ síbi tí kò dáa.
Ẹ̀dọ́ kárí ọgbọ́n
sí ẹni tó lórí tó máa wà ní ìlú tó máa fẹ́ kó gbújà nílùú òun.
Kábíyèsí nígbà tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá Nation afẹ́ dádúró afẹ́ ṣègbà afẹ́ ṣàgbà ọmọ Yorùbá kan jáde.
Now this is where the king is going to talk about his own view about Dr. Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho. Most importantly, on this Yoruba Nation campaign. Let's listen again. But the last question was based on whether the Yorubas are speaking with one voice. The interviewer asked that it seems that our voice is not, in the same direction. We've seen that some are supporting Bola TINUBU today. He's a Yoruba man. He's the president of Nigeria. He has gone to United Nations not to speak on behalf of those asking for self-determination, which is an inalienable right. But the king was able to quickly tell the interviewer that the Yoruba speak with one voice and we will continue to do so. So there's nothing that says that we are not speaking with one voice. It's just that the directions that every one of us is taking. Some of us today have been campaigning for the last 3 years, while some also campaign for TINUBU. That they are same Yorubas, but that doesn't mean that our voices are not the same. This time around, he's going to be speaking now on his own view on why Dr. Chief IGBOHO was either, let me not say it, let me allow you to listen to the king himself.
Ọmọ Yorùbá kan jáde tí gbogbo èèyàn mọ̀ sí Sunday Ìgbòho. Kí ni nǹkan tí ẹ lè bá wa sọ nípa ìgbésẹ̀ tí Sunday Ìgbòho gbé lórí ọ̀rọ̀?
Lápá kan àwọn àgbọn àwọn kan ní ó jà parẹ́ yìí. Lápá kan àwọn kan ní ara tiwa ló jà fún. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wò mà. Ní ìgbà wáṣẹ̀ bọ́ọ̀lù bí àwọn ọba ṣe lọ́wọ́ wa ṣe bọ̀ àwọn ọmọ abúlé o nígbà bá ṣe dáadáa wọ́n máa yìn pé bàbá yẹn ẹ̀díbẹ̀ oògùn tó fún yẹn ṣiṣẹ́ o níṣẹ́ ní apá kejì tàwọn onígbàgbọ́ nígbà tí Jésù náà ṣe ó ń ṣe náà ni àwọn ọmọ ṣe kí àwọn tó tiẹ̀ ní kọ̀ọ̀kan àwọn ọmọ ló ń pàjà bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni ànábì náà ṣe tiẹ̀ bó ṣe ń wà nìyẹn.
Allow my audio to come from here because we've actually lost the transmission of the Chrome there. So I think we can do it this way for now. At least we're almost done as well. Once again, a very good evening and welcome to Star Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, where we continue to review. And now let's come out and do it this way. Yeah, let's stay that way for now. Good evening once again to everyone that is still with me. My name is OLAMILEKAN. The king said, it was quite right. The king talked about the reason why Dr. IGBOHO came out was nothing more than the fact that he was not pleased and he was not happy with so many of the development happening in Yoruba land as at the time he came out. And there's nothing wrong. When he came out, he was doing the needful, he was doing the right thing, and there was no reason for us to, be a little bit, probably some of you that were saying that IGBOHO was wrong, he shouldn't have come out at that time. It was right. IGBOHO came out because there was a lot of problem, and those problems was something that he cannot sit back and continue to allow such to happen. So we are grateful to Chief Sunday IGBOHO for coming out at that appropriate time. It was a well-needed time. He needed to come out and also tell the world, because his voice was much louder than a lot of us, and that voice literally helped us, to not just stop the menace of those that were attacking and killing us, but it also stopped a lot of activities of the Fulani terrorists. And if you all remember that when IGBOHO came out, many of those terrorists that were operating, fled, and some of them were more concerned that we now have somebody that stood for the Yoruba people. So that was what exactly the king was saying there, in case some of you that probably do not understand the message that the king was passing at that moment. Once again, let me remind us that the Yoruba nation struggle is still an ongoing project, and nobody, and I say it clearly, nobody can stop it. They might try to bring in disunity among us. They've tried that a lot. They've actually failed, but we will not stop our campaign, because our campaign is right. We are not doing anything against the law. It's a right for the Yoruba people, just as the Biafra right as well. Yes, not everybody is going to support and endorse what we are doing, but that does not mean that we must stop what we are doing, because what we are doing is in the interest, good interest of the Yoruba people. I'm trying to see if I can get the signal back again from what is going on right there in New York. We're seeing if we can get that signal up and running again. So if anybody is saying to you, you are doing something against the federal government, just tell them maybe they are not aware that the federal government must respect the right of the Biafrans, just as they must respect the right of the Yoruba people. Yes, the government doesn't have to accept what we are doing, but like Bola TINUBU said, the president, the will of the people must be respected. I've told you that already. So the will of the people is the most important thing. And let me bring the sound back. Some of you that probably do not the federal government, just tell them maybe they are not aware that the federal government must respect the right of the Biafrans, just as they must respect the right of the Yoruba people. Yes, the government doesn't have to accept what we are doing, but like Bola TINUBU said, the president, the will of the people must be respected. I've told you that already. So the will of the people is the most important thing. And let me bring the sound back as well. Quickly, for those of you that are listening to us on the other side of the program tonight. So the will of the people will be respected, and there's nothing anyone can do to that. The will of the people will be respected. Nothing Bola TINUBU can do to that. It would have to respect the will of the Yoruba people, just as it will also respect the will of the Biafrans as well. It is not a must that we must stay together. Nobody can force anybody to live together. If we don't want to live together, there's nothing wrong in that. We just don't want to live together. That doesn't mean that we cannot be good neighbors. We can still be good neighbors, and that does not mean that we cannot participate in different things as well. When you look at some of the smaller countries around the world, the question is, how can they continue to operate as a country while you are saying that we shouldn't have our own country as well? Now, let's take you straight to some of the development, from the Biafra side. What do we know? What we can share with you right now? There's a lot going on from their end as well, just as there's a lot going on with the Yorubas as well. The most important thing in every struggle, just like this movement, is to keep the awareness burning, keep the message, going. You can see on the screen there, the Yoruba people are out there as they continue to talk about, the awareness, which is something that many countries around the world will be able to see. Now let's talk about, some of those things happening as well from the Biafra side. Let me give you some of the latest updates as we have it. Once again, the struggle is going to be different. Definitely, we don't expect you to think that the way the Biafrans are going will be the same way. So if sometimes you hear people say, why are you not going the same direction with the Biafra? No, it's two different struggles, but it's the same mission. Two different struggles in the way that we want to push the message. If the Biafra think that the way they want to get their message out is different from ours, then we still have to accept that that is the way they want to go. They have the government in exile under the leadership of their Prime Minister, Simon Ekpa, that is currently speaking. This is all he said some 3 hours ago, and I'll be telling you more about some of the other things as well.
Good afternoon, fellow Biafrans all over the world. This is the 20th day of September 2023. And it is very important, very, very imperative that I bring this short message to the Biafrans. You see, from 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. is a curfew in the entire Biafra territory. And from 12 o'clock, every Biafra citizen, every Biafra market, every Biafra businesses will be opened. But you see, Secretariat, Nigeria government secretariat in Biafra land, from the local government to the state, to the federal, must be shut down. It is not from 6 to 12. No. It must be shut down completely. And from tomorrow, be the 22nd, the 21st of September, we are going to be sending investigators to go through all the secretariat in Biafra land. Anyone that's open, they will receive message from the Biafra people. Thank you.
Well, in case you're not aware of what is happening, and again, it is important that we must tell you that the Nigerian government continues to burn and destroy many of the Biafra, businesses. And again, this is again coming from the government in exile of the Biafra. This is what the Nigerian government terrorists in uniform knows how to do best: destroying the properties. This property is known as a guest house. Somewhere in Imbano, local government area of Imo State. It was completely burnt down. The question is, why is this government? We are no longer with Buhari now. We are now with President Bola Tinubu's government. So whatever is happening right now, that means he's the one putting the message for the killings of the Biafrans inside the southeast. So it is no longer Buhari now. We cannot put the blame on Buhari. We now have to put the blame on the current president, Tinubu, and we hope, like he actually said at the United Nations General Assembly, will of the people must be respected. If the will of the people must be respected, why not ask whether the Biafrans still want to be part of Nigeria by putting out a referendum? Let's listen to this from the destroying the properties of the innocent Biafrans. When they see the Biafra Liberation Army, they run for their lives, but when they see the civilians, they kill them and destroy the business. This business was destroyed in Imo State. And I'll be bringing the image as the engineers are working on that. But let's get the
this shop in Hogana, Noriando, one woman, they made decoration here. Behind her, classic restaurant and bar owned by Zagobi. Kedi Noriando, a human ban, no? Nka bo a human guest house. Signboard. Le bonkre lote she bari a bonkre abari where they have for there. I tala no boda. Kehenda chorokaime no boda. Na hen were a victim in a human ban does not mean.
And those of you that are watching right now, that is the image of the burnt restaurant and the guest house. You wonder why must you shut down and kill innocent people because they're asking for self-determination. Again, we are calling on the international community, as the president is currently at the United Nations, to continue to ask him the question, what is the will of the people that he talked about yesterday, when his own military is now creating menace, killing, destroying properties and businesses in the southeast. And again, this is again going to some of the governors in the southeast, that self-determination is a right, an inalienable right that must be respected. Just as the same goes to the governors in the southwest. Do you know that I'm just being told now that Sanwo-Olu refused to allow a peaceful candlelight for Mohbad in Lagos State? I've told you that it is not injustice for one, it is definitely injustice for every single one of us. So if you are of that opinion that you do not like the Biafrans because of their own ways of asking for the right to self-determination, well, most of you are already eating the breakfast. Even in Yoruba territory, Sanwo-Olu refused to allow a candlelight. I'm sure he's probably thinking about the NSAS, and that is the reason why. Let's go back again and listen to that. It's in a language, and again, this is why we say, I don't speak Igbo. Igbos don't speak Yoruba. Probably maybe one or two of us understand these languages, but sometimes the reason why we are asking for the right to self-determination is because our languages, our identity is different, but we can still live side by side as neighbors. And if I decide to go and live in that part of that territory as at the time they have their nation, just as many of you just as many of you have had to learn a new language when you travel out of Nigeria. If you go to Germany, you have to learn the language. If you go to Switzerland, where our money has been stolen and taken to, you would have to learn the language. The same thing goes to Russia. The same thing goes to the Arab countries. If you don't speak Arabic, you cannot live in those countries. Whether you are in United Arab Emirates, whether you are in Oman, in Qatar, you must be able to speak the language for you to be able to live there. So the question now is, as the language is being presented here, just remember that they are also an indigenous people. Let's go back again and listen at the
This shop in Hogana, Noriando, one woman, they made decoration here. Behind her were classic restaurant and bar owned by Zagobi. Kedi Noriando, a human band, no? Nka bo ehime guest house signboard le bonkre lo te she bari e bonkre abari where they have fraud there ai tala ho no boda ke ihe nda choro ka ime no boda na he nwere victim in a human band no does not mean na on the human band no many. Now this is Ema beer parlor egwari ogwa band no batara na yo se nyamaka Oriendo a human band known as a Kenko. We are all burned down today by the military men of Nigeria. Leka hasi urangwa ahia mmadụ laya n'iyi. Onye a na ha bịara akụwasha shop ya ndị niile na ha mere ihe mere na human band. Biko no, anyị taga ahụhụ n'obodo a hapụ nọ ndị mmadụ ka ha ji ike. Ndị mmadụ akwala akwararị tie mkpu n'oke olu na-ajụ sị ha mere gịnị lekwe ya shọpụ ndị mmadụ nga ndị mmadụ na-achọ ihe ha na-eri ma ndị kwaga akwa.
And you can see it's not just one business, we're talking about multiple businesses in that particular site that was burnt down. The question is, what can be done to resolve this crisis, allow a referendum, and let the indigenous people decide whether they still want to live together or not?
Ndị akwagacha akwarịga agịdị erego ose erege nnu achọga ihe ha na ụmụ ha na-eri mebishiere ha ihe ha ji eri nnu ka otu ha chọrọ ka ndị a were survive again ịgbara shop ọkụ kwa wostu kwafuo ofe ka oke chọrọ ka ndị mmadụ were survive n'obodo a legodi agbacha everywhere ọkụ ihe awụ ime ahịa ọrịa ndụ na ebe ndị mmadụ na-ana azụ mmanụ. You see, onye ọbụla dịcha stranded. Biko dịka ị na-enweta ozi a na-ashare this video ka ndị mmadụ na-ama ihe mege n'obodo a otu esi ataga ya ahụ ndị ọzọ mege ihe ebutere ya ndị ọzọ etala ahụ n'obodo a. Now here shop Sunshine ebe ọ na-akwa akwa along Umunumo Road na ihe memba nnọọ Oriendo kpọmkwem ya ụzọ gara Rehemi Peace Center ihe memba anọ enwere shop nọ n'akụkụ ya one woman nọ ebe a ka a na-asa car wash atụtara shop niile nọ n'obodo a gbaa ya ọkụ ndị mmadụ nọ n'ime ọhịa ebe ndị pụtaga ezi n'obodo a. Share you on this video. This is Mba Nnọọ TV reporting. Ka ndị mmadụ na-ama ihe mege n'obodo a. Ụmụnne m daalụkwanụ. For Mba Nnọọ updates, make sure you follow this page.
Well, you can see why the unity of one Nigeria is definitely not going to work. The unity of one Nigeria is fading off quickly, and this government knows that. The previous government knows that. Many people knows that. The international community knows that. The question is, before we go, in just 8 minutes, are we going to allow another civil war before those asking for the right to self-determination are going to allow to go? We have said it again and again. The movement is a right. But when those rights is becoming a push, then it could lead to other areas, and that could have a big impact on humanity. So we hope that this new administration is not going the same way as the previous administration of Buhari that eventually killed many people. The report is out there that he was actually sponsoring many people to kill innocent Igbos during his tenure. Once again, we are no longer in the administration of Buhari. We are now in the new administration of President Bola TINUBU, and whatever atrocities that is going on right now, the genocide taking place in the southeast part of Nigeria, is something that must not be tolerated and will not be allowed. We will continue to highlight this problem. We will continue to talk about it. But one thing is, if nobody speaks injustice to one, would definitely be injustice to us. So when people are now crying out injustice to Mohbad, well, maybe some of you forgot that there's so much injustice already in Nigeria, even as we say in Katsina, the southern Kaduna, in Bauchi, in Zamfara, in the 36th state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So do not cry out because they are your own clan alone. We must cry out for everyone, even if they are not from your own indigenous people. Nigerians need to understand that, and that is the only way we can question those politicians that are literally holding every one of us back. Businesses cannot continue to be burnt down because you disagree with their views. As I'm going to be winding down in 6 minutes, I would like to appreciate every single one of you that have joined us tonight once again, as the images from the New York is still being beamed out there. We'll see if we can get the last. I think they are right in front of the Nigerian embassy right now, as I can see, the United States police or probably some security there. Again, it's not just the Yoruba people that are asking, though many injustices going on, and many people will continue to ask for the right, as that right will be respected. My name again is Olamileka. I would like to appreciate my producer tonight and those of you that have joined us from all the platforms, as we'll be back again sometime next week. Let me quickly catch up with some of the news headline coming out of Nigeria before we go. Before I hand over to my producer, thank you so much to my family. Thank you so much. Ondo State Assembly have now begun impeachment process of Akeredolu's deputy. Never a sweet one in the Southwest when it comes to politics. I think, another deputy governor, I think it's the deputy to Obaseki, being locked out of the gate. It's just too much craziness in Nigeria. Outrage as a lute doctor died after 72-hour non-stop shift. That again is not something good for a country that has good amount of people that would like to work, but yet they are not given opportunity, and one has to work for 72 hours. Again, the young boy that had his intestine removed, I can now confirm, have died yesterday. Another sad news is never ending in Nigeria. The question is, may Nigeria never happen to you? Thank you so much, Hilary Unwaka. I say God bless your good work and life and prosperity. Thank you so much as well. If you think that Nigeria healthcare system is going to be fixed anytime soon, your politicians are going to run away. It seems that not a very good news for the governor of Kano State, as he has now been sacked while APC has been declared. Remember that when he came in, he was destroying almost everything Ganduje did. Again, Abia set retirement deadline for public servants. Wike set up 7-man committee to prevent building collapse. Building will continue to be collapsing when there is again injustice. The price of cement is not too expensive, it's not too cheap. Again, quality of goods are not being put together to buy the right materials. All these are problems being faced by many Nigerians today. Again, in UK, the diaspora, we'd like to tell you that from 31st of October, millions of households across the UK will receive cost of living payment worth £300. Again, this is what we expect a proper government to do. Cost of living is high in UK. The inflation has gone up off the roof. This is the second of the 3 new payments totaling £900 in 2023 to 2024, providing a financial boost to support the most vulnerable in the society. So that is again coming from the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. £300 will be paid to some of you between 31st of October and 19th. I hope by the time you receive that money, you continue to appreciate the difference that some of you lived in UK, but yet you're telling us to believe that God will fix Nigeria. God is not going to fix Nigeria. Good evening to you, Mabolaji. God is not going to fix Nigeria. We have to shout out and cry out as well. We pray for the family of Mohbad. We hope justice will be served. But again, like I said, he's not the only one that have lost lives. Dr. Chinelo got killed by the terrorists in the attack on the train, last year. Many Igbos, Hausas, Yorubas, Ishakiris, Bendelites, Edos have been killed. But again, we hope. African Confidential says on Twitter, if you don't have a Twitter, please try and register for a Twitter. It's very, very important, and follow us on the Star Radio UK network. I'm just 2 minutes away to the end of the program. When I hand over back to my producer, as we are finally coming to the end of tonight's program, I'd like to appreciate you all for staying with us tonight. Is another night that we say all the time, without you, we cannot be here. So it is you that actually keep us going, and that is why we are here. So if you hear that Star Radio UK comes up every Wednesday, it's because a lot of you are with us. That is why. So let me appreciate many of you that are still with me tonight. Okay, Kayode, thank you so much. African Confidential says, before I go, if the Yorubas were any serious, someone like the former Attorney General of the Federation, Malami, would be on our most wanted list now that is out of office for using his position as the AGF to rob Dr. Chief Sunday IGBOHO, a man fighting for our liberation, of justice. Instead, our focus now is the Igbos. We are all jokers. Let us leave the Igbos alone. If they want to take their campaign, whatever way they want to take it, there's nothing we can do to that. If we are going to take our campaign anyhow, they cannot say it, that we have to go their own direction. Both directions are different, but the whole agenda is to come out of Nigeria. And on that note, I'll hand over now to my producer. My name is Olamileka. Thank you so much once again to each and every one of you that have joined me tonight. I'll be back same time next week. As we say, Yoruba Nation is not going back. Yoruba Nation must continue. Yoruba Nation is the final solution. And on that note, I will say thank you so much. Join me next week when I'll be back again. A very good evening to those of you that have joined me tonight, and make sure you
We've seen over 890% return on ad spend, which is amazing.
She said wọ́n ní kò lè pọ̀ sí i àmọ́ wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́rẹ́ bàbá bá mi ṣe wọ́n ní bí ó ti àwọn wípé kò lè pọ̀ sí i ọ̀rọ̀ yìí wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́rẹ́ o bàbá bá mi ṣe wọ́n ní kò sáré ọwọ́ bọ̀bọ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀dọ́gbọ̀.
Bàbá lòdì bàbá yìí sẹ́yìn.